Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
Look what time it is. But we're here, right? It's 11:15 in the UK. Well, my clocks are always a bit weird, right? They're probably a few minutes behind, but probably 10 past 11 for the rest of the world. It's a Sunday night, and we're here, my friends, Mr. Cyrus and Mr. Mike. How are you?
I feel great. Thank you so much.
You look wonderful too. As Mike said, you do look wonderful.
Thank you so much. 19th of October 2025 is a lovely day to have a lovely conversation. And your conversations are always lovely conversations. Let's make this one even more memorable.
Yeah, you're far too kind. This is Mike's conversation, really. Yeah, Mike said, let's have a conversation, and we said yes. Let's talk about money. And you talk about money. You know, I'm always there. I'm always there. So I can see our friends on the LinkedIn page. So Miss Zara, you're here. How are you doing, podcaster woman? So you are that person. Kenny, I see you as well. My friends, if you're here, say hello. Share some of your thoughts, right? Yes, Zara. Yeah, money in itself is. I can't show you, right? Zara says, looking forward to learning from you all. We're going to learn from you, Zara. She says, here's what I think the truth is. Money in itself isn't good or bad. It's a mirror. It reflects who we are, what we value, and how we use it. Then more, Zara? Oh, my goodness. It's like a book, that one, Zara. To one person, it's a measure of success. To another, it's a tool for impact. And for many, it's simply a means for stability and peace. I think you got it all there, Zara. Everything that I think is there. Yeah, so I think Mike thinks that we disagree, but we don't. Kenny, I finally see you. How you doing, Kenny? Glad you're here, my friend. Great to see you. So there's two mics. Mike, what's happened? Which one of you have Mike on stage? This one. Okay. Should I remove the other mic, or should I leave the other mic there?
That's a magic trick.
Boot them off.
I'll take that one off.
Thank you.
Awesome. So welcome, my friends. And I rarely do a show on a Sunday night. I feel bad for our friends. I think they will deserve a rest, right? Yeah, but you know how it is. Now this is the night we picked, and there's not many other shows on tonight. So let's enjoy ourselves. Let's give our friends value, that thing called value, that intangible. It's tangible, I'm sure, right? Anyway, look, this is the conversation around this money thing. Like I put in the description, we all need money. We all chase money. We all want more money. But money is like the friend no one wants. I don't really want money. I don't want to think about money. I don't want to love money. What's wrong with us? Is money really the issue, or are we the issue? I think that's that's a conversation, of course, around all that. There's many different views. So let's share the views. Let's share the complications, and then let's try and find a way that's healthy that we can conceptualize money. My intro is done now. Cool. Me talking so much about money. Yay. Anyway.
Well, I think we have to differentiate between money and greed.
Yeah, for sure.
Money to me is a way to interact and so it's a way of interaction. If I had my druthers, we'd barter. Right? So we wouldn't necessarily have to involve money. So that we would just trade, like, I need Cyrus's services, so we would trade services. But I think what happens is that greed enters the picture, and then along with greed comes power. And that's, I think, really kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about issues around money. It's not money in and of itself. Money is just a way to trade value, right?
Mm.
That's really what it is. And if you look at the existence of paper money, actually, it was because they didn't want to move gold around because it was getting robbed and such. So they actually created banknotes. That's what money comes from. And so you transfer these banknotes back and forth instead of money. So I think it's really more about greed than money. But I actually did a little preparation, and so some people that we think highly of, or at least some of us may think highly of, that have been successful. Steve Jobs. Well, Steve Jobs at the end of his life, all of a sudden, because number one, he was dying, but number two, after he had kids, things changed for him. Bill Gates said the same thing. So did Simon Sinek, Warren Buffett. They all basically make comments about, at the end of the day, relationships are where where the importance is. And research shows that if you had a good relationship with your mother, you're earning about $87,000 more than those that had mothers that didn't care. Those that had the best relationship scores, not just that they care, but they had the best, earned as much as $150,000 a year more. And then if you had strong sibling relationships, it correlated with a $51,000 higher earning, and stable childhood homes, which is something we can certainly talk about, averaged about $66,000 in yearly income. So it's pretty important that relationships are a key portion of this. And also, and Ian, I think we're in absolute agreement on this, is that you have to have good relationships with your customers. So are you doing it just for the money? And then the question becomes, sometimes you do things not for money, but for building relationships. Call them loss leaders. You can call them, you'll see that very successful people do want to share, certainly for money, but I think sometimes they want to give back. So it's more than just money. But I think to some degree, that's when once you've reached a certain amount of whatever you consider success is. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So money to me is a way to trade value, but it's not the focus for me. My focus, particularly these days, is absolutely relationship.
Okay, yeah, but then you do throw up many of the complications, the nuances. For example, when you say greed, that is a subjective definition of a human condition. Yes, no?
It can be described that way, but I think what's the difference between earning for your family, friends, and other people and greed? At some point, there's never enough. To me, that's sort of the definition of greed. If it's never enough for you, even after you've sort of met whatever you think basic needs are, and enough to have a legacy, then it becomes greed.
Is there a number in that? Is there a number of what that thing looks like? That place. Look, I can put it another way. I guess I tend to think of that number as a place that you have what's that called? Financial freedom.
Yep.
Peace of mind.
Yep.
Enough money to pay for what you need to pay for the world over, over and over again. Money is never an issue in your mind, but you never have to think about it.
But to your point, is it more a feeling than a number? And I think it probably is. If you, and they call it avarice. Avarice may be another, that's probably a better word. Because to your point, it can be very subjective. Greed could be subjective. But to me, it's when you're kind of just doing it for the money's sake, not for financial freedom, not for taking care of your family and your own situation.
Okay, so. Let's go to Cyrus. I fear because there's no number, Mike. Because there's no number because you don't know what you might need tomorrow. Last week I was doing quite happily in my life until I spoke to my mechanic, my car mechanic. I took my broken down car to, and he's like, "We can't fix this. The car has to go to a Mercedes specialist garage." My heart sank. I know what that means. He just said, "Annie, you're gonna spend thousands to fix this thing, whatever it may be, right?" Of course, I pondered and pondered, and my wife was most displeased. Here we go. I'm like, I can't help it. I can't. We just have to pay for it, right? The car. I need my car back. We have to pay for it, whatever it costs. That's the place I think I want to get to. Have I got enough money? No, of course, nowhere near it. I want more. Your point about focus. That's probably one you and I would disagree with. And we don't disagree, Mike. I think, because from looking at some of your comments and your messages on my WhatsApp, I know we don't disagree at all. Value, you give value, you get money. Straightforward. But in terms of focus, what we think about. A lot of people don't realize the importance of thinking about the money they want, the financial freedom they want. We think about our goals because we know that's how you achieve them. Why are we scared to think about wealth? It's not the word greed is not the thing, Mike. I think wealth is what we're aiming for. Let's be honest. I want so much money. I don't have the money. Is never a thing in my mind, right? That's just me. Cyrus, talk to me. What say you, my friend? What are you thinking?
I'm stuck somewhere between you and Mike, right?
Not a good place to be, Cyrus.
No, it's not. Okay, so let me let me explain. Let me explain what I mean. No. Before you laugh me off, right? Like let me explain what I mean, right? What Mike is saying is right, and what you is saying is right as well, Annie. Right? So, but just to differentiate, right? Greed is a really intense desire, right? To get something. It could be money, it could be anything. It could be love, it could be hatred, it could be attention, it could be anything on Abraham Maslow's pyramid of needs, right? So we have needs and we have desires, compelling desires to satisfy those needs. One of them is money, because we have to have money to exchange. Because obviously we don't exchange money for anything. We exchange the number of hours and the energy we have put into something and exchange it with something else that someone else has created for us. I work for 8 hours to pay for, let's say, like for 4 wheels of a vehicle, right? So somebody else has created those wheels. They have put energy, time into that product, and they're waiting for me to exchange the result of and the outcome of my efforts with theirs. Then the exchange happens. So is it greedy to should we be greedy? Yes, we should. Is there anyone who isn't greedy? Yes, we call them liars. everyone's greedy on some level or another, right? So now, just to differentiate between the point that you made, Annie, and the point that Mike made, money and intention from making the money and the level of desire to make money, they are two different things. Okay, so making the money and how much of it do we need. Just because somebody needs more, it doesn't make them greedy, and if it does, it's not a bad thing per se, right? So and again, my judgment is not going to change their circumstances, so I can judge away, right, as much as I want. It doesn't really matter. So so if the needs are the same on the Abraham Maslow's pyramid of needs, if the needs are the same, why is it that different people have different reactions and different intentions and different tendencies? The answer is priority. Some people's priority is the most basic needs. They are prioritizing clean air, food, shelter, which is level 1 on Abraham Maslow's pyramid of needs. And this pyramid is not that old. He created that pyramid in 1943, I think. So it's not been around for a long while in the grand scheme of things. So we're still learning about it. I don't think money on its own is a bad thing. Wanting to earn it is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. And in my view, money is of secondary importance. If you want to get to know someone, find out where they spend their money and why is it they try to make it. So those two things, why they make it, how they make it, and where is it they spend it. Okay, so why do you think your employer, if you've been employed by someone in the past, why is it that they ask you for like 2-3 months worth of bank statements? Some employers do that, some landlords do that. Why do you think that is? Do you really think they just obtain that to look at the address on top of the statement to as a proof of address? They call it proof of address, but in reality, not many people tell you this, but I'm going to share it with you. In reality, they sit down, have a look at what you spend your money on, because that is a window into your interests. And once they find out about your interests, they realize what kind of person you are, where is it because they put you in a box, right? Then they will agree to rent the house out to you or give you the job, etc., etc. So sometimes the employer doesn't even tell you. I learned this from an employer. They don't even tell you why they have turned you down, because they can't tell you. They sat down, went through your bank statement, and found out what is it you've been spending your money on. If you've been a naughty boy, naughty girl, and you've been you've been purchasing stuff that could mean different things, it's down to them to judge, and that's based upon their judgment. So your relationship with money is really deep rooted in your personality, and that is a storyteller. It's a very, very loud and unstoppable storyteller, and sometimes tells stories about you that you don't want people to know. That's what I'm going to leave it at.
I'm a mute. All that I can agree with for sure. Francesca, welcome. Glad to have you here. Of course we are. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us. And Sakleen, I see you too. Hello to you. There's so many different ways this can go, right? So Mike says, research confirms that individuals driven by financial success will prioritize increasing finances over connecting with loved ones, which directly impacts their relationships' happiness. See, Mike, anyone who thinks that is barking at the wrong tree. They're virtually doomed. Because I think So I think one of the biggest lessons I learned in business, I used to think work life, home life, two different things. Yeah, the twain should not meet half the time. I guess then, of course, then I got a mindset coach, and I spent a lot of time listening to Nightingale and his winner's attitude. And he sort of realized, what am I doing all this for? It's for that family of yours, those relationships that you have, right? You know, it's for them. So in which case, you can't ignore them. But then you know, the conundrum is this: you can't make money if you're unhappy. Try as you will. Maybe you can. I think, you know, only when you have peace of mind, which means having good relationships, that you can really be your most creative, your most, Sarah's mentioned desire just now, have the most desire, have the most focus on the things that bring joy in life. I think it's hard to be unhappy and human-centric. Of course, I'm sure people do it every day, right? I just find it very hard myself. You know, it's only when I can marry my work life and my family life. Does that mean I work harder than most? Of course it does. That's fine. That's not that. See, I think this is the con. This is a trick with money. A lot of people don't want to create that personal life. They don't want to create a happy life. They don't want to create a life of success. They want to hide behind money is not important as a way of saying, I can't be bothered to do what it takes to build wealth. That's what I hear them say, really. Yeah, you can have it all. You know, so if we start with the premise that money comes when you help people, when you give value, when you build those relationships, Mike, how would we not want more of that? I don't understand.
This isn't the argument, though.
Well, okay, that's a director. Take us somewhere. Take us where you want us to go, right?
The argument is the priority. So my last comment, I'm going to read it actually out loud because it's important. Relationships build wealth, happiness, health and happiness, and meaning simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Greed pursues one dimension while sacrificing the others, leaving even billionaires with profound regrets. The evidence is overwhelming. Prioritizing people over profit isn't just morally superior, it's the only strategy to deliver comprehensive, lasting success. So, Bez, as a business owner, you're going to have to make constantly, probably, decisions as to what I'm going to sell the book for. I could make more money, but then I'm going to piss people off. So you're making unconsciously or consciously a value or moral judgment, right? And so that's what I'm talking about is you're serving your customers or you know your readership or whatever. You have a relationship with them. You're building a relationship. So the relationship, you can do both simultaneously. I'm not saying that money is evil. I think greed is, but greed to me is going beyond what is good for the relationship, which is good for you. It's a win-win all around.
So greed is overcharging, undercutting.
Yes. When you knowingly are manipulating the cost for value transaction, right? So in other words, if I'm giving you, and it's the same thing with the employees, if I'm giving you a fair wage, I mean, it's transactional. A lot of people get, they want to have fun and whatever and good work life. But I think part of that has to be that you feel that you're getting a good living wage for the value they're providing to the business.
But Mike, I personally would describe that as misconduct. I wouldn't describe it as greed because they're two entirely different things in my books. What do you think?
Well, you have an interesting. Yes, you can be greedy and beyond money, and I completely agree with your definition on that. And it almost becomes like an argument about a continuum, because is Am I greedy for writing good poetry? Yes. Is that a bad thing? I hope not. But I don't use greed in that way. To me, greed has a lot more pejorative meaning. And you're probably right. Just technically, you could probably say, yeah, you can be greedy for anything, including doing excellent work. I I just I consider that differently. I don't consider that greed. I consider greed going above and beyond some to Annie's point, some subjective line that says you're not providing good value to compensation transaction. That to me is greed. Now, if you're saying, and that's not really what you're saying when you're talking about how you're defining it. So you and I are a little definitionally different. Although I agree with you, just strictly in the broadest sense of the word. Yes, you can be greedy for anything, including a good connotation. So we have that in common.
Exactly. Well, greedy, I think, is a big allegation to put on people who are successful. Just a word.
Do you want to call avarice? What do you want? You give me a word. Give me a better word, Annie. I'll use a better word, but at some point, you are stepping over, to me, you're stepping over a line of that, whatever you want to call it, fair market value or fair wage or whatever it is, that you are knowingly not providing good exchange.
The problem with, even though say, let's use a concept that we think we can agree on. What's value for money?
Mm-hmm.
But we can't agree because value for money depends on who you are, how much money you have, and all sorts of perceptions, all sorts of perception of yourself, of the market, of the providers. Why would I pay £800 for a t-shirt? It's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt. It's a top, right? Because it's got a name on it. Now, am I stupid? Maybe. Is a company immoral and because they're greedy? No, of course not. Because they've built the brand, they built a product or a service to give people a certain feeling when they wear the products, right?
Well, ultimately, Annie,
that is added value. Yeah.
Yes.
Annie, I think you're hitting on something that is important, but ultimately the market drives whatever the value is, right? So, and again, I wanted to bring, because I always bring it into every other discussion, the idea of scarcity and abundance, right? So if, in essence, what you're describing is with a brand elevation, you're saying there is a scarcity of this thing that I've created by marketing and by successful marketing and branding, that
I could create scarcity deliberately.
Yeah. Well,
as a
because
strategy.
by price. I mean, I'll give you an example.
By price, by process.
Diamonds are not rare. I don't know if you know this. They're controlled. There's a cartel that controls the price of diamonds. The value of diamonds is driven by the cartel. It's not even, to be honest, I mean, to some degree, it's what the market bears, because if diamonds are too expensive, people won't buy any. But they manipulate it in such a way that, I mean, what value, and to your point, this is very subjective. What value do diamonds have in the world other than cutting things, which you can use them for? But usually now you're creating them. So it becomes a bit a bit squishy. But at the same time, at some point that becomes avarice, to me.
If it's squishy, it's not diamond. I'm just saying that in brackets.
I said the concept is squishy, not the diamond.
Fair enough.
No,
I mean, don't buy it if it's squishy.
But as a marketeer, and he raises a good point, so if I am creating perceived, I think we should use the word perceived value, then I can charge anything, whatever the market will bear. But it's whatever the market will bear. At some point, the market will speak back. That's all. And I guess that's something else I'm saying is, I also believe conversely, and so I'm going to reverse myself a little bit, that I think I have to start charging for certain things so that even if it's a small piece, because there is perceived value. So if I'm not charging even a little piece, I don't understand this, but this is how the human mind works, is that that's not as valuable. I'm like, well, sorry, my time is valuable. I need to start charging for things that, even if it's a little bit of money, because I want you to attach some level of value to that transaction.
Yeah. Look,
Regarding
I'm
that,
I'm not saying money is bad or the way I define greed is bad, but there is a line somewhere that says you've stepped over the line, in my opinion.
yeah,
okay.
I think what you're trying to say is overcharging and stuff. Is that
Kind
is
of.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overcharging is
overcharging-
subjective.
Yeah, if you're overcharging and you're not adding value, you're not greedy. You're a monster.
Yeah, you're a hero, man. You know, you've managed to hoodwink all of them.
No, but we do this. You charge whatever it is, $250 for a pair of sneakers because Michael Jordan's name is on them or something. And again, God bless Mrs. Jordan. I mean, she made Michael a
Very
billionaire.
sneaky. Very
Well,
sneaky.
but that
I
goes
was gonna
back to
say,
It's not
perceived value.
sneaky. It's not sneaky. It's branding. It's good business. Now, this
I'm
is where I'm
joking, I'm
arguing from
joking.
today, Mike.
Regarding before we move on from this one, I was going to say, just to clarify, on this show, we're not, and I mean, I hope we're not demonizing the concept of people who want a lot of money, people who are focused on making money, and people whose job is to make money for other people, right? So if your focus is just on making money as a business person, you're going to need a lot of luck on your side because then that means potentially you've lost your way and you need to rethink why you are making money. If you're making money for the sake of making money and you're not doing anything with it really, the only people who are going to enjoy that is your beneficiaries after you, right? So basically you are making their bank accounts full. If that is your intention, that is better than making money for the sake of making money. If you're making money to fill up your beneficiaries, your children's bank accounts, yeah, that's still a good objective to have. But if you're making money to tell yourself, just to give you an example, there are people who make money to just enjoy their balance. That is not healthy, right? But if you're making money to again, that's a matter of choice, to make someone's life better. If you're making money to make some sort of change, again, I'm not demonizing people who are actually making money for the sake of making money. What I'm saying is you need perhaps a little bit of more purpose or redirection, perhaps, and re-strategizing. But what I'm trying to say is we're not demonizing the concept of money or making money. Just to make sure I'm not repeating myself.
Definitely not. I'm not anyway. So I'm very, very clear that in business, you must focus on making money. You must.
Now, about that, Annie, I was going to say about a point you made and Mike made earlier. You said undercutting and so the relationship you have with money and the way you're pricing your product has a direct correlation with the way you value yourself and the fruit of your labor, right? Now, some people, unfortunate people, they undercut and underprice their product. Why is that? Because they have heard, if I don't do it, the customer will walk away and go with someone cheaper. But let me tell you something. There's also this saying that every customer believes in, and it's cheap for a reason, right? So the customer who comes to you I just want you to think about this, right? The customer who comes to you for your product has already checked another 8, 9, 10 websites, okay? You're not the first person. And if you are the first person and the customer hasn't checked other prices with other companies, God save you if you are the first person, right? Because that's going to create the buyer's remorse later on, right? More than likely. So the customer is price aware, and the customer already knows, right? So we all do that. We check the prices, we find out what the range is, and then we go, hopefully, with the best person who can deliver the job, right? Deliver the work for us. So let's say for one podcast episode, you're supposed to charge $600, $700 for a company, right? Now, somebody's going to turn around and tell you, oh, $700? I can do it for $30, right? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But are we supposed to do anything that is possible? And why is it that cheap? It is cheap for a reason, right? Either the experience isn't there, or the self-confidence isn't there, which in itself means experience isn't there, right? And my dad always told me, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap. And there's a world of meaning behind that, because you're going to have to redo it. If it's given to you for a really, really cheap price, that means the things that are supposed to be there are not there. Okay, so more than likely it's something that is like a pseudo product. It looks like the product that you want, but in reality it isn't. And the elements that should be there have been taken away. So there is this thing in pricing where when a customer comes to me and says, well, I can't pay 700, I can't pay 600. I'm like, okay. And I explain to them, what are the things I'm going to take away from the product? Then they have a look at it and they rethink it, and they're like, but I want those things as well. I'm like, if you want those things, you're going to have to pay for those elements, right? If you don't want those elements, it's absolutely fine. I take them away, and I can do it for you free of charge. You can come to me as a friend and say, I can't afford the product, right? And I will do it for you free of charge. But don't come to me and say, can you do it for me for cheaper? So that means, can you please remove some of the most important constituents of the product and put it on the palm of my hand? And the answer is no. That's the short answer. And the long answer is also no, by the way. So there's no point in trying to convince a customer of the price, because that means that the process of sale and value awareness has not been carried out correctly and effectively. Okay, so whenever the customer tells you that is too expensive, that means it's not worth my while, and you haven't convinced me that you are worth my while. That's what it means. I can't afford it means you've not convinced me that you are worth my while. That's what it means. Because if the product is something they really, really need, they will find the money. Trust me. Because when they go to the next provider and they give them the almost same product, same pricing, they're going to go with them, right? If they manage to convince the customer. So pricing has a direct correlation between you and how you value yourself. So the relationship between you and your product also is a mirror. The relationship between you and you, if that makes sense.
Go on, Mike.
Well, while you were talking, I was struggling with a few things, because we the subject of this is sort of our relationship with money. And so while you were talking about price, I'm like, well, that is also a thing. So if I have a negative view of money, just as it in and of itself, then I'm not going to have a good relationship with pricing my services, right? And that's why I'm saying there has to be, in your mind, there has to be some bar that you're going to set that is not too much, and it's not too little. And I think that's, by the way, not static, because as Cyrus becomes a superstar, and it's not just it's not just that he's a superstar, it's that he's going to be busier. He's going to have more business. He's going to have more money coming. And so he's going to have to make decisions about how valuable his time is. So his prices, as he's more successful, should go up. That's good value for money, because he's a proven commodity. It's like Jordan. If Jordan is going to interact with a shoe company or whoever, he's a known quantity. He's bankable. Or a movie star that's done movies, they're bankable. So that is a very real value, because the movie companies know that they can make movie sales based on, like Tom Cruise. Even if it's a garbage movie, it's still going to do very well because he's bankable. So, and I'm not saying money is evil per se, but there has to be, what my point was more about relationships versus the avarice. And I believe Annie is doing it. Cyrus, I believe you're doing it. I'm attempting to do it. And I've always provided, in my business life, I've always provided a little more to the customer than I was getting in value. And I believe that's probably a healthy place to be. If I'm constantly overcharging, and again, it's very subjective, but I think if we're offering good value, and again, that's going to elevate as God forbid I become famous, it's going to have to, that price is going to have to elevate, because my time becomes, it doesn't become more value just on its own, but because I'm more bankable. Like if you come to me and want me to write a track 10 years from now, and I've been very successful, of course the price should go up, in my opinion. But I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Oh, sorry, Mike. Just a quick segue to one of your songs. You recently released a song called "Through the Fire." Let's say I want to, which is a really good song, by the way. Well done for creating that. Let's say I want to buy that, right? I want to buy that song, and let's say you create that for my business, not general consumption, for my business, right? Then I have to sit down with you and find out in what way it will. Obviously, it's a subjective thing, yes, but at the end of the day, I can get it from elsewhere as well. So that makes it objective, right? So there are some elements you have to hit, right? And the tick, 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 tick. And then you can say it helps your branding, the way your brand is perceived in the market. It makes it future-proof. I have done this. I have done this element, that element, that element. And I've made it future-proof for you as well. So these are the things that people like you and me do. So we sit down and have a think, what word carries what meaning, etc., 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 right? Because words carry meanings. So if I come to you and say, can you make it for my business? So I don't have a leg to stand on. I can't compare your work with someone else's work, because that is not a valid comparison, because you're making it just for my business, right? And I can't get it from elsewhere. And if I get it from elsewhere, I'm not getting the quality you're providing. Okay, because I'm not sure if people have seen your songs on Substack, and people who haven't seen your songs on Substack, I would definitely recommend them to go to mikepoetrycorner.substack.com and have a look at those poems. They are sturdy, they are strong, they're good. I like them. Thank you.
Interesting. Let me welcome my friends who are here. Go to some of the comments. Lisa, how you doing? Happy Sunday to you, my friend. Glad you're here.
Hi, Lisa.
Yeah, we have to laugh with America, right? If you want him to continue listening to us, he's gonna charge you, right? It's not free. I like that. That's so true. That's what we should all be like, right, America? That's not greed, Mike. That's not greed. You value my time. Like, as you just mentioned, my time is valuable. 5 years ago, maybe I would have done it. Like, a year ago, maybe I would have done it free. I just, but the time will come when, yeah, we have to value our time and what we provide. Now, but we must first create that thing that we provide. So this is where I think a lot of people get stuck on the money thing, right? Money is important every day, everyone's life, of course. Welcome, Professor Roxana. Great to have you here. Jackie, we'll see you. How are you doing? I'm gonna have this happy Sunday night, right? Jackie says cheaper is not a nice, cheaper is not a nice word. Most times for many reasons. I agree with you. You know, I think money in business just it's a whole different connotation, different importance, if you ask me, right? You know, it's very different to, let's say, what I'm used to, let's say from Nigeria, from African governments, Nigerian governments especially. Those are the ones I know the most, but they're not different most of the time, right? Getting government embezzle billions, stuff into bank accounts in the US and the UK. This is money that they're never going to spend. They're never going to have the chance to, because when they get kicked out of government, they're going to get killed anyway, right? And all you've done is rob the country and have money, got money in an account. That's your extreme average, Mike. I think. I don't think in business.
All governments commit embezzlement. Some of them are better at justifying it.
Yes, right. I said that's different to being in business. And I agree with you on that. So Sarah, I won't argue with this. There's fraud. There's con merchants. Now there's thieves. There's robbers. They're all there, right? I agree with that. But I think in business, to fear money says so many things. It says, it's not just to fear money. To aim to undercut the market is flawed. Because, it makes me ask the question, what else are you undercutting the market on in terms of quality, in terms of deliverables? But we'll say, Mike, you and I agree on this, right? I'll play a video soon enough that explains my belief in the power of value. Give value, you make money. Right. That's it. There's no other way. I can't see any other way, right?
But that's where we're in 100% agreement, Annie, is I think it's when you're not providing what I call fair value or fair market value. So, and that fair market value, like I said, is going to be different for different people. Michael Jordan's fair market value is different than mine right now. So I'm not saying, but at some point you have to look and say, and it becomes a personal thing. It's like, am I going to pay for a pair of Michael Jordan sneakers? Is that a fair value for me? And that's a consumer's decision, right? And it's the same thing Cyrus has talked about. If someone wants to go down the road for similar services, they're going to have to make that calculus as to, I'm going to get, and Cyrus is going to show, because he's going to either, he's going to do promotional videos or whatever, you're going to have an idea of what Cyrus's value is. And then if you go down the road, and if you're just price shopping, and it's not the same value. I mean, I think we're vigorously agreeing here. because it is about value. If Cyrus is offering whatever this perceived value is, and someone else goes down the road, I'm assuming anyway, they're not going to have the exact same value. Otherwise, they'd be charging the same thing. And so it becomes our job to some degree of convincing people of what our value is. And we have to convince ourselves, by the way, because if we're not convinced ourselves, we're not going to do it. And that's a whole nother. That's another
that's
show.
Exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I meant.
Right? That's part two of our conversation.
That's exactly the point.
So I like America's comment. And this is the truth, right? So ever see the good, fast, and cheap comparison? Good and cheap won't be fast. Good and fast won't be cheap. Fast and cheap won't be good. I tell you.
Yeah.
Isn't that so true?
Yes, it is so true.
You know, there's always someone who do it cheaper than us, right? You know, so this is why I think our conversation around money really is about who do you believe you are? Who do you believe? What do you believe about the world? Scarcity, abundance, and all that. That comes into it. You know, and then I think it goes on to what, you know, and I can agree with what you're saying, Mike. If, you know, the more value you give, the more you can charge. That's not true. You know, so we know that in business. You know, it's partly positioning, partly branding, partly the products you know, with the service you create. You know, so how unique is your service to compare to others? But I think, you know, ultimately we are obliged to aim for more, you know, without scamming our clients. Because if we scam our clients, it all falls down. You know, which, you know, so which is me saying, Mike, the relationship is an important thing. I think it's also about the rules we create. You know, we create rules. I mean, there's one that really pisses me off, which I'll never understand. They're trying to explain it to me, but maybe you two want to take a chance, right? Is that simple discount for brand new customers only? I think that is so immoral. That is so wrong. That is just the wrongest thing you can do in business, if you ask me. But that's me personally, right? I wonder what Mike and Cyrus think. Because I think your customers who are loyal to you deserve the lowest price. New customers should pay more. Why are they getting, you know, because we want to suck them in? No. That's greed. That's greed in the full scale of things, Mike. I think, you know, we should focus on the customers who love us already, who've paid us their hard-earned cash already. You know, give them the goodies. I'm saying this is just an example of a rule that I think is dumb, that people use, right?
Well, I mean, you tell me more because you're doing it probably already, is discounts, right? So you reward, to your point, you want to reward loyalty. That's good business. That's good. So how you achieve that typically is, to your point, whether it's a direct pricing or you actually give, you know, like a discount code. I think it's probably better to go with the discount code, because then you can change the pricing as you need to. And the other thing, I'm sorry, but for certain things, the price will change. But I think the idea of rewarding loyalty is absolutely a must, because this gets back to the relationship, though. You have a relationship with your customers. So how do you maintain that relationship? And certainly one way is to reward loyalty. Absolutely.
I'm laughing. Look, Kenny's got a big bill for you, by the way. He said, when you become famous, I want 20% since I introduced you to all these fine people on LinkedIn land. I'm just saying.
Funny. Kenny's really funny.
It might be due, Kenny. It might be due, right? It might be due. You know,
about what you just asked Mike. Why is it that some businesses say, just to give you an example, I think it's Just Eat in the United Kingdom that is currently running that ad on.
Yeah, they all do it, Cyrus. Cyrus, they all do it. They all do it.
Yeah, I will mention more. Don't worry. So there is them. There is sometimes BT, British Telecom. There's Virgin, who's also providing telephone, internet, mobile services. So the mistake they make. Okay, let me tell you where this comes from. Where this problem comes from, right? So it's all to satisfy their KPI, right? So your the statistics. Okay, so you always mention rightly so. You always mention that business is all about results, right? So business is a result-oriented thing. Your stakeholders are sat in the background, right? They are saying, is my money growing? So the investors, they're always growth oriented, right? Business is always result and also growth oriented. So imagine if you were the CEO of one of these struggling companies and you wanted to, in the next annual meeting's coming in a month or two, and you still haven't got the customer or client base that you promised the investors. So what you're going to do is you're going to fake the client base. So what you're going to say is, so this is of detriment to the business, by the way, right? So you're gonna pick up the megaphone and say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a new customer, I'll give you 20% discount. The customers who joined like 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, someone like Mike, someone like you, Annie, they're gonna turn around and say, hang on a minute, I've been with you for 6 months, and I'm not gonna enjoy that. And the business doesn't even say yes or no. The business is gonna what? Dismiss you, right? So this is gonna bring 10 times the number of you and Mike to the business, right? Then the CEO is going to show the investors, look, guys, this is what I've brought to you. But there's one thing that CEO doesn't tell you. The cost of customer retention, like retaining a customer, existing customer, right? This is Richard Branson style, right? So the cost of, from Virgin, the cost of customer retention, existing customer, is 5 to 7 times less than taking on board new clients, new customers, right? So it is, it's a no-brainer that you have to retain existing customers rather than getting new ones, right? Why should I hire a billboard in Manchester City Centre and say, I'm going to give a discount to the new customers? That's pretty stupid of me if I do that, right? So I'm not going to do that. At least I'm not that stupid. So I'm gonna put the billboard up and say, you get this much discount, you get that much discount. Everybody, you get a discount, you get a discount, everybody gets a discount. I hope you get that movie reference. So the point is, the fact of the matter is, you've got to keep the existing customers happy. Then they will bring in more customers. So that tells me, if I tell you only new customers get discount, I've not been doing foundation work with the previous customers, the existing customers, which in itself is poor CEO work, right? So they always say SHIT rolls downhill, right? So at the bottom, the managers and the people who are running the business, they sit down, and the best thing they come up with sometimes in their infinite wisdom is that, oh, we're gonna tell the new customers, you're gonna get a good discount, 20% discount, and even to the detriment of old customers walking away. That is an awful decision from a business standpoint for the future of the business. So whichever business you are running, if you do this, I am concerned for the future of your business, not the status quo, not the current state. So that tells me you are suffering with short-termness.
Yes. That I agree with. Will Cyrus? No. Okay, you finished, Cyrus. You suddenly stopped.
Thank you.
He suddenly stopped. Now, look. Sean, welcome, Mr. Sean. Glad you're finally here indeed on a Sunday. Sean doesn't work on a Sunday, right? Does he? I don't know. No, it's normally family time, but you're here. Welcome, Sean. Thank you.
He was a birthday boy. He was a birthday boy this week, and I wrote a song for him.
Happy birthday.
Excellent. Happy birthday indeed. A bit belated, but I'm sure you take it, right? Well, you can play the song, why not? Why not?
Joni wrote me a song, and I really loved it. I really loved it. I'm gonna show you that song later, that Mike. It's a lovely song. I didn't know Joni writes poetry. That was pretty good, to be honest. I really liked that.
So it's new, So I think Joni is newish compared to you and Mike for sure, who've been doing this for years. But no, good on her. The opportunity is there, right? And then we can have a big argument. Whose songs are worth more? We wouldn't have that argument because it's not our business, right? I'm just saying that we could, but we won't. Look, let's go back to the thing in business. The other thing that I think could be confusing, discombobulating, literally the other way that you're coming and going, right? When it comes to money, is discounts. Again, I'm not against what Mike said earlier, which is I give you a price based on our relationship. Now, if someone comes to me and says, you know what, I'm gonna do 5 books. What's the price? I'm gonna lower the price to make it a sweeter deal for you because now I'm guaranteed more money. And hopefully we'll work out a process where we can work smoothly, which each book we do, basically it gets easier. We understand each other. The process gets smoother. It costs me less time. It costs my team less time, to get you the results you want. So that's the ideal, right? But I think offering discounts as a way to build your business, and people do it. They do it every day, right? I think that's a road to ruin. Some will believe that they're offering discounts to help people out. As Sarah says, they're not really. They're trying to suck you in. They're trying to snare you. And I think it's almost a false. It's a false message.
It comes down to philosophy to me. Annie, are you trying to do the quick build out, make money fast, or are you committed to a longer term relationship? Not just with, it's really with your business. Because if you're looking for quick money, first of all, it doesn't happen very often. And secondly, to your point, then you're going to get a rush of people that really are not valuing your product at that price point because they got it cheaper. Back to that cheaper argument, right? So I think a lot of us, but I wanted to ask you a question, flip the script a little bit. So if I'm a known author or you've worked one book with me, so I may want to renegotiate to say, well, we had a hit on our hands. We sold, 10,000 books. Can we work out a better, deal on this one? You kind of already said it if you do 5, but I'm coming to you now with a known quantity. And particularly if I already have a couple books in me, but to me, it just makes perfect sense to say, well, yeah, you get a little bit, you have to negotiate and see what the cut is, but I would think it'd be good business if you have a known quantity in front of you. Or maybe they were, disenfranchised with their other publisher and they didn't feel that they were treated properly, and you can show them that you'll do that for them. This gets back to the relational aspect, though. And this is what I'm saying is you can't really divorce, to me, you can't divorce the relational aspect with the business aspect. That they're kind of, locked together. And
I agree with you.
And it's also a concept of I would hope most people have an idea that they want to build out the business and maybe even turn it over as a legacy or something. But most of us are going to want to build out a business and have some longevity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I'm not saying you can't do this, but I think the flash in the pan stuff is going to be just that. You may make, X amount of dollars, but it's going to be a flash in the pan versus you really committing to that relationship, both with whoever your partners are, but also your customers. And I don't. If you're not doing that the right way, and I kind of agree with Cyrus, I think is if you're bringing them in with almost like false pretenses, because then you're going to believe. Let's say for me, okay, I'll give you every someone that joins $5 a track, and yet I figured out that going rate for a track is $10. I'm not serving them or me, because yes, I may get numbers in, but then they're like, they have this false expectation that they get, the next track at $5.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and again, if you're not careful with your marketing, you could probably even get into legal trouble, like false advertising.
Look, you're going to sink your business. If I think there's an important point, Mike, in that. I think in business we must start with the fundamentals. Whatever you call them, your expenses, your outgoings. I'm going to throw a few dead cats in the conversation for the sake of it, because I can, right? We pay staff too much. Yeah, I just said that. Now let's discuss. We'll get there in a second, right? Because in England, we're talking £15 an hour minimum wage in England. That's unsustainable, because the people do not make the money. They don't give us the value back. And it so annoys me.
Minimum wage, minimum effort.
Yeah, but minimum wage is a king's ransom to the business. To you, it might be minimum wage, but I'm saying, if you were that good, I will pay you more. If you made me more than I pay you, I will pay you accordingly. If that makes sense, I'll compensate you accordingly. The problem we have is that many people come to us to work, and they have no intention of doing anything above the minimum. I think it's greedy of them to want more. Yay. Yeah. I mean, Mike is thinking very hard, thinking, Amy, you're so wrong. But I like that.
No, don't put words in my mouth, Henny.
No, he was just thinking.
No,
I didn't say anything.
I agree with you in that whatever the number is, it should be based on what you bring. And I'm sorry, but in my career, I didn't get paid the value that I provided. So there's two sides to this coin, right? And I got paid 6 figures. But what I was bringing in one case, and I won't tell you which company, but I was getting billed out as a consultant 4 times my what I was making. I don't think that's fair. I brought value and on a regular basis. And so I'm like, where there has to be something in between. So is minimum wage fair for me? No. I mean, that'd be ridiculous for me to take a minimum wage job. I don't even know what it is in the States now, because they keep on trying to change it. And there's certain states that are higher than others. But my point is, I couldn't afford minimum wage. I can't. I'm well past that. But my point is that minimum wage employee gonna provide minimum wage value?
No.
So
that's my provide no value. That's the problem with them, right?
Well, that's my problem. Well, but that's my problem, right? Is how did we get there? And then we get into all sorts of stuff like what do they call the and you probably call it something different in England, but the universal something, it's the safety net.
Something similar, universal wage, right?
Yeah, and I'm like
national living wage.
Yeah, but I guess my point is that there has to be somewhere in between to say, no, you don't get the 15 pounds or whatever. You get like maybe you're an intern. So, and that's the other thing. I believe, you should be able to do apprenticeships. I really believe that we need to get back to the idea of apprenticeships. So you get paid next to nothing as an apprentice. While you're doing the apprenticeship, then you become valuable. Then you maybe couldn't be offered the minimum wage, because then you've proved yourself. So this is the problem. We're saying, oh, everyone needs a minimum wage. Well, how did we get there? Well, taxes and all sorts of other stuff. But my point is, no, we all have to provide value. And the other thing is, like I said, for high performers, that needs to be sorted out too, because there's a lot of us, at least in the U.S., and then they get riffed. I mean, my last position, I really literally kind of got them out of a big jam. And right after I got them out of a big jam, they riffed me. So I'm like, what do you do there? So there, I don't know. We have to find a better system. But I think just having a minimum wage is not necessarily a good idea.
No, what's rift, by the way?
Reduction in force.
Okay, so redundancy.
Yeah, it's what you would call
go with
redundancy.
that. We call it redundancy here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And basically, you get a handshake and 2 months severance pay, blah blah blah, which is worth next to nothing.
Yeah.
No watch.
Look, here's the dilemma. Can I say we live in an age, my friends, where they will complain that we don't employ kids anymore. Now, the numbers for graduates recruitment have never been this bad, right? Apprentices are a whole different kettle of fish, Mike, in this country anyway, right?
Yeah.
I've had apprentices because I thought, let me give the youth a chance to learn the trade, to become, to learn how to work and to deliver, right? To become workers. So the way our apprenticeship scheme works here in England, I think the first year you're paying, it's not quite no money. You're paying a few £100 a month, right? And they are kids from school, some of them 16 and so on. But at the end of the first year, they're on to minimum wage, the age group. Second year, they want full wages for adults. That's why I was like, no, out of my door, don't come back, never again.
See, but this is my problem. Remember what I said, Annie? You have to provide value. So are they providing that full wage value? The answer is probably not, right? I mean, there's the whole, I don't know if you've seen in corporate ideas that it takes a year, at least a year, I think it's about a year to get to 80% of what you're going to be able to do. It's probably 2 years to get to the full, that you...
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple of years. So it gets back to my point, though, is are you providing full value for that? It goes back to that argument. And if you're not, why should there be an expectation that you get a full wage?
It's a word expectation, I think, and it's the rules, right? But companies are making choices, we're just not going to employ them. And if AI can do half the job anyway, why do I want to employ a kid I don't really need? It's...
That hype is gonna. We're on a pivot point here and an inflection point on the hype cycle. I think, and I'm messing around with AI daily in various things, and I am getting very frustrated on not being able to produce what I need to out of AI. So, and that's common, by the way. MIT did a study that 97% of all deployments in AI have not produced the results that people were looking for. I'm like, duh. You're looking at it as it is a very advanced autocomplete. It's very advanced.
Yeah, we are the guinea pigs. Yeah, we are first
guinea
pigs. We are.
Yeah.
They are training their models with me and you.
Yeah.
That's what. So we are paying for. And funny thing is, we are paying for it.
Yeah, we're paying. I'm paying
$20
$20 a month for ChatGPT, and I'm the
product.
product.
Privilege. Privilege. So there's 3 people in this live, and lots more people in the chat. Please get involved, and the audience. Yeah, please get involved in the chat and tell us if you disagree. 3 people are sat here. That means 100% of the population in this live event are saying artificial intelligence is not as effective as it's supposed to be, and it's still in its infancy, and lots of teething problems, and still they're charging us for a full product, right? And by the time they become of the quality that we need them to be, they will probably be free because, or maybe for a tiny subscription monthly by then, like in 5-6 years time, there's going to be lots and lots of competitors for ChatGPT, as an example. Do you really think they're going to be able to afford to charge us $20 a month? I don't think so. No way, Jose. So I'm not going to, in 5 years time, I'm not going to pay $20 to them, because by then their competitors are going to provide probably equivalent kind of quality, provide equivalent quality, and for cheaper. So that is regarding value, perceived value. Now, regarding the other point that you made earlier, which we deviated from, the discounts. So we came from discounts, we came to this part of the discussion, which was also constructive. Thank you. But I want to digress and go back and address that one. Regarding discount that you mentioned, Annie, and Mike also mentioned. So I personally think discount should not be given to customers unless you tie it up to an emotional concept. So what do I mean by that? So I can give Mike, let's say Mike has a new baby, right? I can tell Mike, okay, Mike, you have a newborn child. As a result, I'm going to give you my services free of charge for 3 months. And let's call it, I don't know, Father's Day. you can tie it up to some sort of emotional concept. Mother's Day, or you can say spring break, summer, right? Summer holidays. Let's say I'm a travel agent, because it's the season for holidays. If you buy the product from us, and if you recommend someone else, never give a discount without a reason. And if it's an emotional one, it's much, much better, right? That's bad for your brand, because it's like you are constantly playing, what's that game? Snake and ladders, right? So once you're bitten by that snake and you come down to the lower price, it's going to take time and energy to go back to the higher price. And you can't immediately put the price back up, because the customer perception has changed already, right? So, and if you giving discounts willy-nilly, that's going to affect, and if you're undercharging constantly, that's going to affect the market's perceived value of you. Yeah. Okay, their perception of you, once it gets fixed, only God can save you, right? So with giving discounts and stuff, be really, really careful. It should always be tied to a value, and that value better be an emotional one, because for years and years and years, Michael in the future, Mike in the future will forget the discount, but he will remember, because of his newborn baby, I was kind to him, and that emotional side of it will potentially give him a reason to recommend us to other businesses. And I'm going to finish on this. That Just Eat example that I just gave you as an example, if they turn around and said, for new customers who are recommended by an old customer, we'll give a 20% discount, that would get the old customers involved, and you have to share the discount with the old customers and the new customers, get them both involved, and that creates communities. Thank you.
I like that. Of course, I like that. Look, the discount thing is, it's a weird thing. So maybe the point I would like to make is, you must charge your core costs as a minimum. So many people, they're so scared of charging, and I think maybe they have that scarcity mindset, Mike, where they think to themselves, and I was there. I'm one of those people. They can't afford it. They can. If they want it, they have to afford it. There's no other way, right? And I say part of me realizes that what I'm trying to do really is get people to elevate their ambition, the capabilities, their deliverables, their value that they give. So with that, I think half this money issue goes away. If you sell your products and services at the right price, whether it's, as Mike says, make people have value for money, person have feeling, or whether you do it based on your branding, or whether you do it based on something else, right? I think you must have a price that you're happy to deal with. I think when we're there, when we're at the right price, I'm writing a book on pricing, by the way. And I realized it's not about pricing really, it's about psychology, it's about mindset. Because the people who don't value money, Mike, the people who keep telling us money is not important, they can't buy anything. And that can't be a place to be, right? I think it's almost like they're in denial. By arguing that money is not important, then they don't aim to generate enough money.
I hope
If
they're
they're-
good swimmers, Annie, because they're in denial.
Very funny, Cyrus.
But
hold
No,
on,
but-
hold on. Before you two, hold on. Let's do our friends in the audience, right? Then I come to you, Mike. It's all a play on words, and this conversation about discounts for existing and new clients. I guess so discounts for existing clients is driven by being recognized for loyalty. Discounts for new clients, I don't know what that is, right? That's just to get them in. Ironically, it's the same value worded differently. Maybe. But I think the intention behind it from the business is a different thing altogether, right? I think for new customers, you're just disrespecting the relationship you have with your existing customers. That's just my personal thoughts. I could be wrong.
But Annie, if you're able to do the both, right? I can't remember who brought it up now, but if you do both, so you give the loyal customer a piece of the action for getting a new customer in, then you're doing both, right? And really,
Yes.
to me, it's about community building there, because you want to get the new customer, but you're doing it through an old customer, so you're rewarding his. It's like you're getting both, right?
Yes.
And I think that's a good model, because it's not like you're cheating or whatever the loyal customer for the sake of the new customer. That both win.
I've tried this, Mike, and I had a language school 15 years ago. I had a language school, and then the way our model worked was I would tell that lady or that gent who wants to join the business, I would tell them, if you recommend another student to our private classes, you will get $250 worth of classes, and they will get $250 worth of classes free of charge. So they were like, well, what about they're from the same family? And I'm like, yeah, that'll be fine. So how about it's my student? It's my classmates. Yes, that will work too. So when you get them involved, something switches on in their brain. They start finding ways of sharing that discount with other people, right? So the same thing applies to sharing stuff on Facebook, sharing stuff on Instagram. There's this general rule of online etiquette, right? People share things that makes them look good. So people don't share stuff that is good for charities. People don't share stuff that is good for students. People don't share stuff that is good for parents. No. People share stuff that makes them look good and helpful and raises and elevates their status in the community they are on. It could be Facebook, could be whatever platform it might be on. So we share stuff that makes us look good. So the same principle, which is tried and tested, at least in one of my business models, was giving an old customer a discount if they bring new ones in, and giving the same kind of discount to even the new customers in the sign-up session. So I was telling the customer, you are signing up now, right? So it's still not too late. You still have 1 week. So I put a countdown on it, right? As soon as I added that countdown on the concept, that doubled my customer intake, right? So I told him, you have 1 week to get another customer, and then from that like $1,000 that you paid me, I will pay you back $250. So they were like, okay, I have a week to do something about this. They would find someone. Honestly, they would. And that helped my business a lot. So time that discount, and tie it up to helpfulness or an emotional event. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Interesting. Sean says, "No, money isn't evil and doesn't make anyone anything. It only amplifies." Yes, Sean, it amplifies who we are deep down, right? Because many people have money, but they refuse to spend it to invest in a business. That's my annoyance, right? Because they have a different mind, they have a different way of thinking about money. They think it's going to run out. It's where Mike's, point about scarcity comes into it. So there's a comment earlier on that I want to show. Right, so do this one. So money is important to get where you can afford all the life essentials. As Sarah was talking about this in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs earlier. But also to be able to help others. Yes. That others starts with me and my family. I'm just saying. My pets are included in that as well, because I have to feed them, right? That who does not give me money. It's you're stealing from my child's mouth. Those who owe me money, I always tell them you're taking food from my child's mouth. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, you really are. Pay up. Otherwise I can find someone else who will pay up. Look, there's a question in the back of my mind. Jay says, having Chinese buffet and listening. Oh, lucky you, Jay. I'm hungry now, right? Stop talking about food. So a kettle of French fries sounds so delectable, scrumptious, delicious, edible. Kenny's language, right? I definitely is infancy. Oh, what's for dessert? Don't tell us, right? Mike, can you find out? Have you got Suno sorted in terms of playing Sean's song? Banana pudding. I'll leave that with you. Because I don't like bananas at all. Bananas my pet hate. So
I'm jealous. Mr. Pasqua, you have taste, sir.
If it's banana, I'm not so sure. I see you, Michael. Of course, I see you. I'll come to you in a sec. Tracy, welcome. Business people doing the evening thing, right? Jay says, emotion is good. I would offer a discount as a loyalty and retention promotion. If you visit and purchase my product and service 5 times, entitles you to nearly half price. So that's real loyalty there, Jay. I think we can all do that. Well, but only if you charge enough in the first place, right? Only if you charge properly. Only if your idea about your prices are sensible and ambitious and aim for growth. Yes, I said, Coach David's here. I see you, Coach. Welcome. And Michael, of course, I see you too. We'll come to you in a minute for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, America says, if you're giving money back, it's not a discount, it's a credit. Oh, America, I like that. If you use this model, credit customers with added service instead of or credit towards future purchases. Yeah, no, that's again. I think that fits with Sarah's idea in terms of only take money off for a strategic reason that helps a business, helps them buy more. That's what he's saying, really, right? And I think you agree in America, right? Welcome, Dr. Amaka. How are you? Dr. Amaka's show is in a couple of days, 22nd. The Ascension Conference, I think it's called. Coach David's going to be there. I'm going to get an award. So please, my friends, do come along, right? It is free to join. Dr. Amaka is a crazy woman to do it free. Let's stop doing things free. I think, okay. That's a different. That's the same conversation, but different conversation, right? Let's be brave enough to give value and then charge them for it. Yay! Free is bad. Charging is good. Anyway, I'll show you a video soon, Dr. Amaka. So hopefully my friends will get to know about your event. But I'm going to get an award, so I'm always keen to be there. Have we lost Michael? I think we lost Michael. So let's go to Coach David. Coach David, you're part of the hosting team in the first place. But we lost you until now. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Hi, Coach. Hi, Calm.
Hello, Cyrus. Hello, Coach. Hello, Annie.
How are you doing?
Fella? Is it Abdullah? I don't know. Is it Max? I'm not so sure.
Sorry, who's Abdullah?
No, the gentleman to the right, or my right. It's it's Mike LeBlanc. Hi, Mike.
Yeah. He suddenly changed his name. He's changed his name and everything about him completely, right?
Sorry,
Right,
Mike. My eyes are wigging. I'm getting older. Damn.
Yeah, your eyesight's not what it used to be, right? Be
No.
like me, buy glasses every day, but don't go to the opticians. That's the news way, right? Anyway, look, so talk to us. I know, I expect, and I'm sure you're going to deliver a quirky idea about money. How it's not important, Michael. Maybe you're going to say otherwise today, right? We're getting there, Tracy. Tracy, we're getting there. I say my author speakers event in probably January is going to be a page 4 conference. But we're all going there. So Dr. Amaka has shown us how it can be done the hard way, if you ask me. By sponsors and by sponsors and fundraising. Whereas I'm going with ticket sales and speakers almost paying their way. I know what I mean. We're but I'll tell you all about it when the time comes. Hello, Liana. How are you doing? So glad I invited you. So glad you're here. Excellent. What can you say? America asked that question already. Okay, I don't want to miss Tracy's question. How much am I going to charge? The time will come, right? So, Michael, talk to us. What's your take on everything money? Greed? How important is money? How much money is enough money? Beyond, this is what we've been talking about. Why you've been chillaxing on your hike.
Yeah, now you're opening a door. Okay.
Guys, just be honest. As painful as it's going to be for all of us to hear. Tell us anyway.
That door, definitely, the hinges need lubricating, mate.
Yeah, that's a door that should not be open.
Some ideas should be shut away, Cyrus. But Michael's he's gonna bring them out. So let's enjoy them.
Annie's habit, when he goes creeping around in my head, he opens really, really bad doors. So I'm like, okay, Annie, you're not gonna be surprised about this one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. But I believe that money is what it is currently is a route that humankind has chosen and gone down erroneously, and it's been forced on the majority because of those very few psychopathic maniacs. Well, those who actually seek gold for some reason or another, and I'm not so sure why, but seek gold for God knows what reason, because gold is not good for anything. Gold has no value. It has... What do you do with it?
Oh,
What is it? Ultimately,
Michael.
I'm gonna ask this because what does it do for your body? What does it do for your spirit? What does it do? Literally.
Right, hold on. So let us answer you.
Because I think it's sickening Yeah.
Let
Go
us
ahead.
answer you. Let us answer the question. What does
Go
gold
ahead,
do? What does
Andy.
gold do for you? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does it do for you?
So those in the audience, so what does money do for you? Is what Michael's asking. And my friends on stage, please feel free to share. Cyrus, Mike,
Um,
Coach
in
David.
terms of what does money do for me, that is not where the focus, in my view, that's not where the focus should be. If you really want to get to know me and get my business operations and be a part of my life and be a friend of mine, you need to find out what is it that I do for money. Now, not what is it that money or gold does for me, right? Because it will do whatever I tell it to, right? So at the end of the day, again, I'm that determinant factor. So if Mike's if Calm's point is we are going about it. So when it comes to money, we have been going about it the wrong way. I 100% agree with you. But it's not gold and money that we are trying and striving towards. It's the power that we derive from it and the power that it generates. As an example, I can afford to employ 4 people, as an example, right? Compared to you, as an example, for argument's sake, let's say you can afford to employ 1 person. So my power will be a few times more than yours, or the other way around. You can afford to employ 10 people, and I can afford to employ 1 person. So your monetary power is more than mine. So that is the reason why the money has become the axis of evil in some people's view, or the root of all evils. It's what people do with it. Okay, and to give you another example to get my point across, some people right now, as we speak, they might exist in this chat, in this live, in this room. Some people think AI is doing evil things and AI is coming for my job. AI is going to do this to me. AI is going to do that to me. No. People who own AI platforms are going to come for your job. It's not AI. AI is an object, is a concept. Your employer is going to make you redundant because they want to get things for cheaper. And they're going to save on one of the biggest bills, which is staffing. That's how you lose your job, right? So it's not money, it's not gold, it's not AI that is costing us our souls, our jobs, our peace of mind. It is what people do with it. It's what, and also what we do to achieve those things, right? So concepts don't hurt us. What we do with those concepts hurts us or hurt other people. And by the way, from here and there, we see people die as a result of guns and stuff. Guns don't kill people. People kill people, right? So
that's American speak. You know, don't confuse them. They go all confused by that idea.
No. I mean, I'm talking about concepts, not
more guns are better.
People use those concepts, guns, gold, money, or whatever, right? When they misuse, when they abuse. If you want to abuse things, you can abuse anything really. So it's not about gold or money. So demonizing the concept, in my view, is not going to help us prove the point. People do what they do, not the concepts. That's basically my point. Thank you.
I get that point. Mike,
I'm going to be sassy, and I'm going to be very specific.
No.
And answer what Michael said.
Oh dear.
Gold is used in electronics for a conductor, also in audio equipment. So there's a lot of value in gold, and there's other uses for gold specifically. But more to the point, I think gold is a very inefficient, or I should say, money is a very inefficient way to trade value for value. But and I believe, part of me believes, that it is being used by a few to control the many, particularly stuff like usury, predatory loans, and such, and on. Right. So I don't know if Michael agrees with me in that, but that goes back to providing value for money. And if you're not providing it, or if you're manipulating, or if you're, charging ridiculous interest rates, that's not providing good value. That's greed and avarice. And that's what I keep on going back to is it's not, I wrote in the chat, the love of money is the root, ROUTE, or route. I don't know how you English say it, is the route to evil, right? Or of evil. And to me, that's the thing is if you're doing this for just collecting it and not for, as Annie said, your family, putting a roof over your head, feeding them, and so on, and you're just doing it to collect a bank account, I can maybe even be your friend, but that's not something I want to pursue. I want to be able to put it to work, whether it's for family or for a good cause. So I think again, in some cases, we're vigorously agreeing here that it's not the paper that's evil, just like the gun isn't evil. It's not providing a fair trade for value. And I don't think that's good business, by the way. And my understanding is very successful people also agree. I mean, you're not going to be on your deathbed wishing you had spent more time in the office, generally.
No, but you might spend some time on your deathbed wishing you'd earned more money and given more value.
I don't think so.
I don't know. So Jay, I see what you're saying. You can always work the discount into the total cost of the product or service. So I like America's idea. Just add value to what you already offer. So this is part of one of my thinking, Jay. How do we raise our prices in a way that is fair? But that's a different question. So let's focus on Michael's question for now, right? Michael, I'm not going to be shy about it, my friend. Gold gives me peace of mind. I can sleep at night. And then whatever bills come tomorrow, I'm going to pay, right? Look, I'll be honest with everyone. I'm that person who hates getting post letters. I hate them with a passion because every letter I get is a bill. But these days when I get letters, I open them happily because I know no HMRC is not trying to get me. The other one's not trying to get me, right? There might be a mention of money in my letters, but at least I know it's not a bill that's going to make me sink and die. And so that's what money does for me. It buys me peace of mind. It helps me grow my business. It helps me help other people. As Mike said, it helps me make my family happy. My wife is infinitely happier. No, she's not really. I'm lying. It doesn't matter how much money I have. My wife's still the same, right? She told me, if you had more money, I'll be happier. I'm like, no, you won't. You really won't. So I can see what you're saying, Michael, but the money is important. It's important for what we want to do, what we want to have. And also, I think it's recognition of the value we give and what we'll do for others. I don't know how else you see it, Michael.
Well, this is how I see it. Considering the state of the world and how it is going, I really think that money is an illusion. And the reason why it's an illusion, or why I think it's an illusion, is because it's cheap. It has no value. In reality, the value we attribute to it, or to the concept, is cheap. That's why I think money, especially in the state of the world as it is a piece of crap.
Ignore him.
We
Ignore
go.
him completely.
No.
Ignore him.
Well, yeah, you can ignore me. You are invited. In fact, I invite you all to completely ignore what I'm saying. But I will stand by it because it really is a piece of crap. And I just, paper, we exchange paper. We actually have to kill a tree, a living being, so that we can make money, which is a piece of crap, a dead piece of crap. There are reasons why, our ancestors fought against this idea, because they saw no value in it initially. Now we've bought into a system, and I do believe it's a system that has enslaved us into thinking that this thing is valuable, and yet it is not. It's an illusion. It's a piece of crap. The only value you're attributing to it is in your head. And by the way, what Mike LeBlanc said, and also what Cyrus said, I do agree with. And I am adding my part to it. And that's it. Money is a piece of crap. If I could live in a world without money, I think it would be better.
I'm not sure.
I'm not so sure. There has to be, because I can feel it. Cyrus is crying out for it. I can feel Mike crying.
No. Cyrus is fine with cash. Cyrus is fine with pounds, dollars.
The only person
that
that I see who is antagonizing this concept of money
isn't me.
Is Annie. But
yes.
I haven't heard from David yet, Coach David.
Yeah, no, he's about to speak. He's
very anxious to hear what he has to say.
Yes.
Because his mind
let's hear
mathematically beautiful as far as
let's hear Coach David, and then we should come back to your points, Mr. Coach, the mic is yours. Please unmute. Four, 3, 2, 1. Coach, we can't hear you. Yay! Just in time. Please share with us.
A lot of beautiful things are being shared on the table. I'm excited to be here. Apologies, I came in a little bit late. Mike, the superhero, the Whisper Boy, Mr. Cyrus. We have a good lunch stroke breakfast meeting somewhere very soon. Any great respect, Mr. Khan. God bless you. Happy New Week. Money is deep. 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 Everybody said a lot. It used to be a medium of exchange because barter wasn't a good medium of exchange. But it since stopped becoming a medium of exchange, it's become a weapon of power or the denominator of prosperity and a couple of other denominators. Money itself is empty, like Michael said. It is the value that you get from money. Why are people happy? Because money is a promissory note to happiness or to be able to live a good life. The exchequer of the Bank of England or of the Central Bank of Nigeria, anywhere you are, will easily say on my behalf, extend this person this $20 good or £20 good when they present this particular note to you. That note is supposed to be a denominator, something for you to hold as the value of what you can command the market, but it has become in itself the symbol of power. It's transcended its normal use, and people can do anything for the higher the money. And look, everyone has a price. Repeatedly, I like to feel that there are people that don't have prices. But I'm growing older, I'm finding out that nations have prices. That is because you've not been able to pay the price. If you're able to pay the price, everyone has a price. This is very sad, and these opinions, some puritanic people who are my friends will disagree with me, but everyone has a price. The price may not now be in terms of money, but everyone has a price, or everyone has a value, meaning you have a value system. If money is that value system, then you gravitate towards physical cash. And with dividing the notes from what it stands for is now getting very difficult. Some people are even thinking, why are you dividing money? Why are you giving it other meaning? That's how life is. Shut up, take the money and go. But at the end of the day, nobody can eat money. You can't cook money. Many years ago, they were announcing in a church that let's begin to pray. Some people have stolen money, that God will have mercy upon them. They've eaten the money. And then somebody there said, no, they don't eat money, sir. They spent it. Told the pastor. What's my bigger point? Money has become symbolic. And everyone must come to themselves in the school of self-awareness. And Mike has echoed this. You must know how you respond, react, and interact with money. What are your predominant money programs? And that money program is typically driven by who raised you and what they did and what they didn't do to you. That's your first paradigm. Did you start life wishing you had a lot more money, or did you start life with a lot of money than you would ever need? When you want to get a job in the UK, it's important to know your money program. That's why they say things like, what kind of household did you grow up in? Is it a household where both parents were college holders, or one was a college holder and the other one was a trader in quote, or someone that didn't go to school? They're trying to find out your standard, your upbringing, and your standard of life. And when they find that standard of life, they know where to place you. Money, and what it represents for you is what you write it down. I don't want to go into the nitty gritty of what are the different paradigms. There are spenders. There are people who are savers. There are people who are orders, and there are people who exhibit all of them. And there are people who, when they interact with money, they interact with some sense of what the occasion needs. You can't say this is their particular profile. So you need to profile yourself with money and determine before the day you be tested, or before the day you need a lot of money, what money means to you. And then what will you do for money? What will you not do for money? Who will you network with money, and who will you not network with for money? They put a 10 million pound on the table that I should not meet any, or I should not meet Mike, or I should not meet Whisper Boy Cyrus. I will come. I'll be very cross with them. And I won't slap the person. These are my friends. It's not the money. In fact, I will take the money and still go for the meeting. And if they pay me money to meet them, all the better. What am I saying? What does money mean to you? It's a question you must fundamentally answer for yourself at the honest level. Money doesn't mean anything to me for the first 1,000. Once it gets to the first 2,000 or the next 60,000, X amount in the future, at what point does your body begin to move? At what point do you begin to have spasms and begin to break sweat? At what point do you freeze when you hear numbers? What will you do to break your money mold? So what's your money mold? Then what's your money mental program? What's your money meta program? What's your money syntax? Who framed it? Why that syntax? What would you like to change? Would you like to see abundance or be average? Or you like to be average yet rich? There are loads of things and questions to ask on the self-awareness lane. Until we ask that, we can't even begin a meaningful interaction with money. Some people should not be working for no one because happiness is high and money is number 10 on your value system. But you've got to get a job, and it's robbing you of happiness because you're now very miserable. If you're not willing to, do some politicking at a certain level, you're going to lose all your money for money. And then you're going to be work on this altruistic way. Some people say, oh no, I just want to work. I want enough for profit. Can you work on that pressure cooker? Are you motivated? A motivating machine. Can you toast bread without any egg and bread? Yes. Say, I used to toast water as bread. Begin to see all sorts. They give the guy this job because of money. 6 months later, the guy is lamenting and crying. He wants to not come to work again because he thought what he needed was money, but what he needed was some level of comfort. He got the money, then found out that was not that was what he was looking for. So before people begin to offer you money and then you lose your soul in the market, not even knowing what you want or what you don't, it's better to sit down and discover your north poles around money. That's my opening shot. I'm here listening to you guys, and you guys know all the way that I'm excited. You guys are superheroes. Love all the contributions. All protocols observed. Thank you so much. Thanks, Annie. I yield the mic.
I toasted water. I like that idea. It's not gonna work, right? We need gold. No, we need gold, Mr. Khan. Sam, how you doing? Welcome. Good to see you. So there's a couple of videos I want to play. So great insights there, Coach. I think money is deep. I like that fact. Money is a deep thing. And of course, I agree with you that money says a lot about who we are, what we think we are. what we think of ourselves, what we think of the world. And that's our view of money comes down to that ultimately, right?
And did you say we need gold?
Yeah.
And what's the reasoning behind it?
It's worth money.
It's worth money.
Yes. If I had a room full of gold, I could sell that and be close to worth enough. A room full. I got a big room. You can see, if you can't see my room behind me, I can't move quite far. I'm saying it's a big room, right?
Yeah.
You know. So no, for that reason, gold is important. No, look, gold is same as cash, really, in my eyes. It's one step removed.
The way I see it, gold is the giver of life and death.
But you just said it's evil.
Yeah, calm. What happened? Somebody paid you in gold in 5 minutes? You changed your mind.
No.
Did they pay you in gold?
It's a giver of life and death. It can give you life, or it can give you death.
That's the letters you're going by, right? You
know what? What Calm is saying, right? There's some sort of
don't fall for it. Like
the rest of the stuff that he says, there are hidden truths in them. Okay, you need to be patient enough to surgically get what he means out of what he says, right? So very clever, Calm. I like that. So what I was going to say is, Annie, you also said something very important. Right now the price of gold is around, I don't know, 4,200 something per ounce, right? So there is something that is happening, but it is being suppressed by mainstream media because of the big changes that is happening in the market, right? What's happening is a particular president is making some changes in their country, right? And as a result, the price of gold within the coming weeks is going to shoot up. When that happens, because we all know, just like you said, you implied. So gold is important and has always got this opposite correlation between itself and dollar. So when gold goes up, the price of and the perceived value of dollar goes down, right? So they are manipulating the market soon, and rumor has it the price is going to go as high as $5,000 per ounce from 4,200 something, and that is going to make a massive difference, right? So what they're doing is they want to make it look like their economy. I'm talking about that particular president. They want to make it look like their economy is booming because it's going to increase the number of units that they're going to sell through their factories to foreign countries, right? So that on paper it will look like, guys, look at the new narrative. The new narrative is, thanks to my changes, factories are selling more, right? So trust us more. So increasing the price of gold is twofold. One, people are going to put their trust away from paper money and lose their trust in paper money and kind of become its enemy, and put that trust in somewhere else, in gold. And the price of gold goes up. And by the way, many people won't be able to afford it. So what's the alternative? Digital money. That's what they're going to do. They're going to increase the price of gold and first find the most stable digital money they can find, acquire it. So some of them are unstable, really. And but some of them, out of 4, 5, 6, which are the main ones, 1 or 2 are the most stable. I believe one of the governments, which I'm not going to name here, which is not the subject of the conversation, is going to acquire that and then start the process of digitizing the money. It has started a while ago. Now, so our concept of money, our understanding of money needs to change, because the concept of money The game is changing. So should we.
I'm going to disagree slightly, Cyrus, and I'm going to go back
Please
to.
go ahead, educate me. Please, I'm learning about this. Please go ahead.
Well, okay. There's a couple things that you talked about. So there's what's called stable coins, which are pinned to the dollar. So if you change the dollar, they're going to go down in value, right? But then there's other coins like Bitcoin that's considered a store of value. It's considered that. Now that's being manipulated by very wealthy whales, they call them. But that's no different than what the market is. The market in the U.S. is completely controlled by a very small amount of people. If you have any questions about that, go look at the issue with GameStop, and then later the AMC Theaters stock price, which I was a holder of AMC stock at one point, because the marketeers behind the scenes that are, the man behind the mirror or the curtain are manipulating the price. They were shorting stock, and so they have to buy that stock in order to, get out of their shorts. Well, guess what? They magically were able to get out of their shorts. So what I'm saying is, gold to me is probably a better value, a store of value, and that's been the traditional store of value has been gold. But I don't, and so there's something called the central bank digital coins, CBDCs. And that's so they can track, unlike cash, so they can track your credit card, at least in the States. I don't know about in the UK. The government can track your expenditures, IRS and whoever wants to, basically.
Yes, that's the whole purpose of making it digital. Yes, so they can control
right.
more. Yes.
Right. Well, and so they will be, because right now you can have what they call micro payments. Like I can pay a tiny digital piece of a Bitcoin, right? And that's in some places anyway. It's not being used generally, but that's going to change. And so they're going to do away with paper money, mostly for tracking purposes, in my opinion. So it's more control over the lives of people that are using it. And I think they're going to make it where you don't really have a choice. If your local grocery store does not accept dollars anymore, a lot of them, a lot of people just blithely using their credit cards, and they probably don't know that the government has the ability to track
Mike, I
purposes.
thought you said you disagree with what I'm saying. You are saying what I said in a different way, though.
Well, I thought you said that they're adjusting the price of gold to change it, and that's where I kind of disagree. I think because gold because if you are playing around with gold, you're going to decrease the value of a stable coin because a stable coin is pegged to the dollar. So,
no, you increasing the value of Bitcoins and other digital currencies because people's trust will get repositioned away from paper money, which is what the government wants.
Okay, let's differentiate.
And placed on coins. Yeah.
Well, I just want to differentiate and be very clear, and I'll just drop it. There's a difference between stable coins and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not pegged to anything.
Big
Bitcoin,
difference.
Yeah. So think of, I don't know, Bitcoin is almost like a stock, as opposed to stable coin. And I can't remember what they all are, but they're directly pegged to the dollar. So if the dollar goes up, they go
are
up.
government
If the dollar
backed.
goes down,
They are established.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Establishment
Well, no.
backed.
So the CBDCs are going to be, at least Fed backed. I don't know if they're going to be government backed. And that's the whole thing about fiat, guys. And we haven't, this is all economic theory and everything else, but fiat is actually kind of, in really bad inflation countries, fiat's meaningless. And that goes back to what Michael was saying, is that the paper money has no real value. And in runaway inflation countries, it's obvious, right? So it goes back to, and I have to agree with Michael again, he's my brother from another mother, that it's all sort of illusion, meaning that we only trust it because we put our trust in the government that was supposed to be backing it. In the United States, we had gold. We were on the gold standard until 73. We're no longer on the gold standard. There's no tie of value between gold and paper money anymore. So we're basically saying we trust the government enough that we will assign this value of $1 to $1, and that well, and then we already talked about pricing and all that. But my point is, my only little disagreement is that there's stable coins and then there's Bitcoin. Bitcoin floats, stablecoin is tied to the dollar. So if you devalue the dollar by increasing the value, which I agree with, by the way, if you increase the value of gold, then you're going to decrease the stable coins. You will increase Bitcoin.
Yes, basically that's the same thing I was alluding to. Basically, so they're trying to destabilize traditional paper money because they're going to replace it with a digital version very soon. Yep. There are people who are demonizing that process. There are people who are disagreeing with it, and but we all know disagreeing and not agreeing with that thing is going to be like stage 3 of adventing a new thing, presenting a new thing to the community, to the society. So they demonize it, they disagree with it, they come to the streets, they show you placards and say I disagree, I don't want it, and after a while, when I say a while, I'm talking about by 2029, 2030, as we all know, in the 2030 agenda, the United Nations actually talked about it. There's going to be some sort of digitization, right? So there are some late adopters, like less developed countries, but the ones that are going to be pioneering this is going to be America, it's going to be England, and so some other major European countries. So in my personal view, which I could be right, could be wrong, the whole thing started with COVID. They started these track and trace systems. They put them in place, and nobody bat an eyelid. Nobody knew what was happening. And so that is the precursor for the new system, digital ID and digital money, that's going to be placed. And that is the reason why I believe the way we are looking at money needs to alter, needs to improve a little bit. Otherwise, we won't find out what they are doing to us and not for us. And one thing I'm going to finish on is, whenever you give your government, whenever you give your whoever you trusting in, your government, whenever you give them liberties, you give them powers, that is going to be for perpetuity. That's going to be a perpetual process, that they never step back from the powers you give up, right? So if this gets established, which I believe it will, there's no going back from it. So a new world order in terms of economic has already started. By 2030, perhaps there's not going to be any focus on paper money anymore. Is it what's the name of that country where digital money, or should I say the paper money, has been abolished? Is it Singapore? I think it could be Singapore, and it has been for a few years now. So that was they are basically the guinea pigs of this process, right? So they have made it operational in one country. They survived. Nobody died. It's been working for a while, right? And they have taken it through some sort of stress test. They have tested it. They have those values. They have done the COVID fiasco, and basically they have some sort of idea that their plans are working. So the next step is digitization. I'm not saying it's a bad thing per se, but it's just that control. And when people say they're doing it for control, yes, I agree to some extent, but it's not just control, it's real time control. There's a difference, right? So they want to find out if any is buying a sandwich,
Who's
how much
they?
money is any
Who's
spending?
they? Who's they?
So
I
when
don't
I say,
understand
just to
who they
clarify,
are.
just to clarify, the decision makers of whatever country you are living in. Okay, so it could be the government, could be HMRC, Her Majesty's
Revenue collection.
revenue. Yeah.
Mm.
So HMRC or IRS in the United States. So they want to know real time what you're spending on or where is it you are transferring the money to, because it gives them better decision making abilities against you, because they are the ones who want to control you. So in England, the public sector, the government, they work for us. We are the public and we elect them, even though that's going to change soon anyway. And they are deviating from those red lines anyway. But when I say they, I mean the decision makers. They want to know, and also it gives them extra powers, because if they don't like what you say or do, they can freeze your assets, again, real time, there and then. So if they stop you, so what's the best way of killing something? Deprive it from oxygen. So how do you kill someone in this day and age? It's not physically. They're going to kill you off by canceling you online if they don't like what you're saying, freezing your assets, and controlling the narrative. That's when I say they, I mean the decision makers.
Okay, fine. I'll let you be for a second. Let me play my sponsors video. They pay the bills, my friend. They pay the bills, right? I'll show my sponsors video, and then I'll show you because I think we're overcomplicating this money thing. Whether money is changing, whether cash, so that's a whole different conversation. Coach David, you have to give me a few minutes.
Okay. I just want to take something quickly because okay, go on, please. Go on.
Well, no, go on, say it quickly. That way, unless you're gonna write it down.
So I wrote a book about this fintech black box and the future of money, and the conversations on the table are correct, except that some of the predictions won't play out exactly like that.
Yeah.
There are a few factors. The parallel digital money and physical money will continue for a while. And I think it's going to be beyond 2030. Sarah and I differ there slightly. But digital money will still take root and effect somewhere down the line. I project 2035 upwards. That's because the infrastructures that hold economies, the central banks, will do heavy work to regulate for another 15 to 20 years. For certain reasons, digital money is not easily regulatable because of the nature of the internet. Well, like Mike said, there are things being done right now to ensure that whichever way you go, you are going to be regulated. And many countries are implementing all the necessary tools and all of that. But what is more important, and I think that's where Cyrus is going, and I agree also that, and Mike made in that direction, we need to think about money from an independence perspective. We need to think about your money as your money and not our money. Today, there are systems in traditional economics that's used to regulate how much money you can earn. Interest rates, for example, and taxes and how much taxes are set up are instruments of states to manage how much money is in circulation. There are about 10 things that the CBNs do to manage how much money is in your pocket. Only with entrepreneurship, that was where you used to circumvent that system. But in the coming future, platform owners and online real estate owners and private digital economies will grow and become bigger. That is the bigger message inside what Mike is saying and Cyrus is saying. Everybody has to find a way of owning digital real estate and digital value conversations, because owning your platforms, the equations that equal value will change and scatter to digital platforms. Traditional off digital, what you call traditional economy, will remain for a while. It will be there, I think, 15, 20 years. Some economies will accelerate into it. Some will not accelerate into it. Then the United States is a determinant of financial culture. That's one of the advantages of it. Whatever happens to the dollar, is a secret of the business world, at least as of today, and much more recently, the Chinese currency. These two currencies and whatever happens in those two countries will affect the world significantly. Now, what happened to Elon Musk with his fallout policy with Donald Trump is actually a setback to the digital economy drive, but it will still happen. Bottom line, we all must have our ability to earn and own digital platforms so that our value is not tied to the old traditional economy alone. This is very important. And understanding new money. And remember, this is my last point, which is why I've done a lot of futurism work in tech. Why did I choose my work in fintech for? So to release that book. By the way, I'm going to post on Amazon. The reason on the chat, the click on Amazon, the reason is because ultimately all of tech is that you're going to collect money or you're going to get paid for it. So all of tech will dovetail into fintech as the last gateway before you can actually take your value. That's the other point I'd like to make. But go on, please. I'm enjoying the conversation. I just want to chip that in. That the meat of the conversation for me is that we must all become online savvy and own online real estate that we can make good value from. This is, and both Mike and Cyrus, I take that very strongly. And I think we are all going there. You cannot be a strong medical doctor and no online means of earning in 2030 or 2035. You cannot just be totally of that. All of your income is coming from your day job, and there's nothing representing you online to convert and have real estate value. This is a misnomer. It won't even happen by 2040. You'll be able to do it. We all most likely will go online. So that's what I want to add to the conversation.
I agree with you, David. These new changes that are going to happen are going to be of detriment, mostly to people who put all of their eggs in the same basket. So you need to diversify.
What about those who have no eggs at all?
Say again, sorry.
That's more the problem that I see. Most people don't have enough money. They don't have the mentality to make enough money. Because David mentioned entrepreneurship. I will bring the question after sharing my videos. I'll bring the question back, which is, what are you willing to do for money? So think about it, my friends.
OnlyFans.
Welcome. Eric always has beautiful days. Mike, you have to let me do what I gotta do. Then I come back to you. We'll start with you, Mike. How's that? I love your point about some countries have digital currencies. Nigeria, really? That's a red herring. That's a route for fraud. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. Crypto is route for fraud all over the world. No one's admitting that yet, but they will do eventually. Anyway, let me leave that for now. Sponsors message, my friend. Sponsors message.
Something big is coming.
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 Something huge is coming.
Something big 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 is coming.
It's more than a conference. It's a call to rise.
We are building the next generation of bold thinkers,
and you, yes, you, are part of this.
Rise to the future is here.
The Ascension.
Scholar of Global Conference 2025
happens on November 22nd and 23rd online, and you have free access.
The theme is Where Boundaries Shatter and Brilliance Awakens.
This November, join a global tribe of thinkers, professionals, dreamers, and doers from Africa and the world. We gather to learn, grow, and ascend.
Get inspired by global leaders in career and professional development, business and SMEs, education, healthcare, tech and investment, parenting, marriage, and society.
Come and meet 20 powerful speakers in one room in 2 days.
Register at scholarupacademy.com.
Save your seat. Let the ascent begin. See you there.
Yes, you can scan to register, my friend. Coach David, you're a speaker there, aren't you? Coach David, are you there? I think Coach David is one of the speakers. I get to win an award. I like winning awards. And I like being given awards. Yes, that's what I like, really. I don't like to do anything to get them. Well, I think I don't do anything to get them, but yeah, I don't want to fill in forms. I don't want to apply. I want to be come to receive your award. See, the reason I say all that is because I think this making money conversation is about more than money. Here's what I live by.
Most men will tell you that they want to make money without understanding the law. The only people who make money work in the mint. The rest of us must earn money. This is what causes those who keep looking for something for nothing or a free ride to fail in life. The only way to earn money is by providing people with services or products which are needed and useful. We exchange our product or service for the other man's money. Therefore, the law is that our financial return will be in direct proportion to our service. Success is not the result of making money. Making money is the result of success. And success is in direct proportion to our service. Most people have this law backwards. They believe that you're successful if you earn a lot of money. The truth is that you can only earn money after you're successful. It's like the story of the man who sat in front of the stove and said to it, "Give me heat, and then I'll add the wood." How many men and women do you know, or do you suppose there are today, who take the same attitude toward life? There are millions. We've got to put the fuel in before we can expect heat. Likewise, we've got to be of service first before we can expect money. Don't concern yourself with the money. Be of service. Build, work, dream, create. Do this, and you'll find there's no limit to the prosperity and abundance that will come to you. Prosperity is founded upon a law of mutual exchange. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn himself. Sometimes the return will not come from those you serve, but it must come to you from someplace, for that is the law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite.
That's the law.
Is that Earl Nightingale?
Yeah.
Wow, he's brilliant.
I think that's as simple as it comes. Yeah, which is why I said I'm going to ask a question to you, to everyone who's here, and there's in the audience. What are you willing to do for money? Yeah. Mike, let's come to you first, Mike.
Well, I jokingly said OnlyFans, but I'm
not paying you. I don't care how much you're charging, Mike. I'm not paying you subscription.
I'm going to be a foot model. Apparently, there's a lot of money in that, Annie. But anyway.
I'm still not paying.
Mike, how are you going to make money out of that? Your camera's off 90% of the time. It's going to be a really poor business model.
On OnlyFans, it will be on, right? It show his feet. You never see his face.
Exactly.
No, the camera he needs to turn the camera on because you can't. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's more like
there you are.
You took the first step, mate. Go for it.
I'm not showing my feet at the moment. What I'm willing to do is to share my artistic gifts and talents to create poetry and music. And I am moving to monetize that. I'm actually looking at Bandcamp right now. So I have to figure out exactly how all that works. But that's what I'm willing to do. And to your point, so what is the value in that? Well, for bespoke music, it is offering bespoke tracks for events and for company, whether it's company events or shows here on LinkedIn or elsewhere. or birthdays, which I have a track teed up for Shawn Michaels' birthday. So, I mean, we'll see if there's a market for that. I actually think there is, but we'll see. And so that's what I'm willing to do for money.
Okay, well, I mean, your OnlyFans only stops just short of my tutu skirt wearing. I think they'll pay me for that, right? And there's a different word for it in Hawaii. So, Gay, welcome, my friend. How are you doing? Let's come to you before I go to my other friend because I don't like you waiting too long.
Yeah, really good conversation. Lots of stuff to talk about. But when everybody was talking about value, and I'm going to be different than what others were talking about. Maybe going back to Coach David. It's the trade-off. What do we get in return for what we're trying to buy or trying to sell? And let me just give you a little bit of Pacific Islander history. Do you know the traditional Yapese currency? The people from Yap, they're called Yapese. There's Yapese stone money. And the money literally could weigh more than a ton. These are stone monoliths or megaliths. And these stones had their value because of how they excavated it or took it from another island. First off, you have to travel to an island that's 100 leagues away, go to a side of a cliff where there's volcanic rock, chisel the rock off of the cliff, don't lose it in the ocean, put it on a raft, and sail it back to Yap. Now, this is hundreds of years ago, but that's how the money got its worth. That's how the value was determined. That's how you gained wealth on this island. And that now has become a legacy and an heirloom that has been passed down from generation to generation. What does all that have to do with the conversation? It really goes back to what value do we place on the money that we use or trade for service or product. And if you put the value on the money itself and the product and the service, then the value is just surface. But to your point, Annie, and I know everybody's been like, hey, they don't see what you're trying to say. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but for me, the way I look at it is it's a tool. You know how we've been arguing about AI being a tool for the last couple of years now? Money is a tool. Now, you can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to bash somebody's brains in and kill them. I'm sorry to be so graphic, but it's a tool. And if we put the value on it being a murderous weapon, then that's what it is. So to me, if we place the value in what it can do for my family, what can it do for the legacy I can leave for our children, my children, grandchildren, right? These are the things that we can do. And if we look at a lot of these mindset coaches and the ones that have been around for ages, and I can go back to, everybody, right? One of the things they'll teach you in their courses, and you can talk to Leslie about this, what we've been taught as children affects how we use or how we gain money. If we've been taught if it's evil all our lives, then we treat it as evil, and we shun it. We move away from it. It moves away from us, right? If you're trying to attract something, right? It just like dating, you don't go out there showing your feet. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's a bad example. But I'm just saying, if you show people that it can be used as a tool for good, then it'll be a tool for good. And I think, if we choose to, we can put the value on other things that it can help us get, rather than it being the focus and the attention. And then, so as a business person, I'm going to make it practical. As a business person, how am I going to attract money? And it's through purpose. My purpose. What's my purpose? Going back to the leaving a legacy part for my kids, my grandkids. My purpose is to help others tell their story as a storytelling strategist. And if I can help them tell their story, then they can then benefit from the value I give them in trade for the money that they pay me. Sorry, I went all the way around the world.
I like that. There's so many good things. I mean, I've taken a topic from my room on Wednesday. Are you running away from money in your business? Yay. Let's discuss. What does that really mean? I have a view, of course I do, Jay. But I hope you might, you would tell up my friends to come and have a conversation, right? So Wednesday, being your thing to self in business. Let's talk about this money thing. I think it's going to run for a while, Mike. And I say I think we'll probably do more pop-up rooms like this on the topic. There's so much to talk about, right? Yeah, Jay, I think we agree on pretty much everything. I mean, Kenny says the fetish for feet has arrived. Mike, there's a market for you. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. But people will buy anything, right? So
good luck,
make sure
Mike.
you give us something useful. Coach Davis puts the link for the FinTech Black Box Secrets book. And I'm here, so do go to the comments and do check out the book. I've read a bit of it. I haven't read all of it. I've read a bit of it. It's informative, of course it is, right? If how money works in the practical world in terms of cash, digital money, and so on and so forth. You definitely want to read that book to see what's coming. Mr. Cyrus, are you going to share with us what you're willing to do for money?
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna work for money. I'm gonna provide value, provide high quality products. Then that will get money to work for me. Because because how much of your life would you like to dedicate to working for money? The problem with today's world is people work for money. When you're working for money, that means you're going to have to exchange a certain number of hours of certain number of days until you are 65, and that's called a job. Then after that, you will own a vehicle or a couple of properties, and then you'll die. After enjoying your retirement for like 10, 20 years, after that, your life comes to an end. But we're not here to
That's
live
not bad.
like that.
You're 85 now, and you live good, right?
That is not why we are on this planet, my friend. That is not why. We're not here to work for 65 years and then enjoy the fruit of our labor for 20 years, 30 years, and then finish the journey. That's not. Your job is to create a community Your job is to get the money to work for you. Your job is not to work for money.
That I can agree with. You know, the getting money to work for you thing, I think people struggle with that as well. I think they struggle with that. They really do, right? You know, it comes back to the point that Coach David made earlier. What's your money mindset?
Well, but not all people suffer with that. Only consumers suffer with that. Producers, not so much. You have to create a product or create a platform and then get the platform to work for you. Create a community. And so as an example, if you help 100 people and then get those 100 people pay you 1%, how much do you get? 100%. Right?
Yeah.
So, but you are making your money as a result of helping those 100 people who will eventually pay you 1%. Right? So 1% of so this is John Paul Getty's system, isn't it? From 40s, 50s. So this is what he's saying. So I'd rather get rich by the value, by the fruit of labor of 100 people that I have helped get to the levels they want, right? So when you help them, that is a fair transaction. So you've helped them get what they want. Otherwise, if you really want to get to your goals and dreams with the education that the schools and universities gave you and the way your government is taxing you, you are in the wrong game, mate.
You're screwed.
It's a losing game.
Screwed.
You're screwed.
You're screwed. The taxman always gets more than you.
Yep. Always.
Mr. Calm, I wonder what your thinking is. What are you willing to do for money? What are you not willing to do?
I think the question should be, what is money willing to do for me?
Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
Because I'm not the type of person who goes and I'm interested in it's my value, right? If money is valueless, it can do nothing for me. So what can money do for me is the question. And my interest specifically, my most significant and optimal interest that I think humankind should be more wary about than anything else is my health. What is money going to be doing? What is money going to do for my health? Because that's the most important thing in my life. If I don't have good health, I don't have good anything. I can't do nothing for anybody. So that is the most important thing to me, is my health. My health is good, then I work out. I work for anybody. I can do stuff. I'm good. That's what money should be able to do for me. Keep me in good health.
It's funny how the wealthy, or many people spend their time chasing money, and then when they do make some money, they're spending money on their health, right? trying to get well, trying to keep well.
Yeah, you see the enigma in that.
Truly.
I'm very glad that you do so. You know, that's very positive, Annie. That's definitely very positive.
See, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't work, right? It doesn't mean we shouldn't wear funny, it just doesn't mean we shouldn't. Different question, different conversation.
Yeah. What was the title of the book, of the thing that you were
Coach David?
The one that
FinTech Black Box. The secret that will grow global money.
That's that one. And then there's something that you talked about you're gonna do for your business.
The book about pricing.
No.
Which one?
Something you an event that you're thinking about.
Okay. Well, my conference, my author speakers conference.
No. This is something that you personally you're gonna be doing. The way I put it is like this. What is chasing poverty gonna do for your business?
Nothing. It keeps you poor.
I think that's what you should.
It keeps you poor, right?
That's what you should talk about in your next session.
Don't chase poverty.
That's
And
pretty
also
much what I'd
don't
say.
transfer it to the next generation, because poverty is it gets inherited from one
Yeah, so it
generation,
gets
gets
passed
passed
down.
on from one
There's
generation to the
generational
next.
trauma.
Yeah.
We can talk about that and its effects and the alternative. And I think we can grow from there.
Yeah.
But that's just an idea, Annie. If you can
Yeah,
keep it
no,
in mind, I certainly
there's,
appreciate.
there's a
Michael,
conversation to be had.
Michael,
Mike.
just briefly, my comment to that is only chase poverty if you're willing to suffer the consequences.
1 month's poverty is another month's kingdom of heaven.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
exactly.
I'm not sure. Are you sure?
Yep.
I don't know. No,
We
so
both
even
agree.
Dandy,
We both agree, Annie. We can talk about this in another show.
that's three of you. Cyrus is shaking his head vigorously, agreeing with you.
That it's worthy of another show. Let's just say that,
No, it means
because
basically if I don't pay you, not if I don't pay Mike enough, right, for the result of his efforts, right, and he ends up being poor for that month, right, and I keep the money for myself. What Calm is saying is true, isn't it? It rings true, doesn't it? So my happiness is of detriment, and the detriment is to Mike, to Mike's happiness.
Ultimately, it's to your own.
Yes.
Cyrus.
To myself, yes. Yeah, of course.
Well, and the reason I say that is because as you give to another, you receive more than you give. That's all philosophical, but
It's true though. It's true.
But it's true. The other thing is, let's say I hit hard times, and you're a really good friend. You can uplift me in my hard times, maybe even monetarily. Might not take monetary. It could be, giving me a car ride because I can't afford gas, or whatever the case is. That's where relationships come in. And so, I live in a dream. I have a dream that one day we'll have free energy, and that all of this scrabbling for money to do the things necessary, like cook and keep our houses warm or cool, charge our cars, or drive our cars, or whatever, that we may reach a state where all of this isn't necessary. But until then, we have to deal with what we have in front of us. And if that means giving to another in their hour of need, that I really don't think we can discount. And I shared this on another thing, Annie, where I had mentored someone 35 years ago, and just last month or two ago, he gave me a shout out after 35 years. So I don't think we can discount going I'm not saying the poverty route, but the the non-money route on some things. But I don't think the world's ready yet for no trade of value.
See, I belong to a barter club. It's called BBX, right? So you offer your services to others, they offer their services to you. Money doesn't change hands. I think this came from an idea in Australia, I believe, where this idea started, right? You know what? All these companies, they all go broke. Because the members, like me, I came to you when I needed money that I didn't have. But now I'm successful, I don't need you anymore. I'm not willing to work for nothing. Yeah, but we're paying you in funny credits, in funny numbers, in a pound for pound. But it's not pounds, it's BBX pounds. I'm not willing to. I don't need to waste my time with you. I got real clients who are willing to pay me real money. You're done. Bye. I'm saying these things exist already, Mike. Right? Then we can try to live with that money, but I think it's going to come back to building wealth. That's the elephant in the room. Now I'm willing to accept maybe all of us here will have enough money. That's why we can talk like this. The man who hasn't got enough money, the one who's still living in Maslow's hierarchy of Maslow's, triangle of needs, right? It's called the hierarchy of needs. They don't see it the way we see it. Survival is the key. When Michael says stop chasing poverty, how do you stop chasing poverty if you can't survive? Maybe there is a way, right? You have to have bigger ideas, bigger plans, bigger dreams, bigger action, bigger results. That's how you stop chasing poverty ultimately, right? But a lot of people think the problem is money. The problem is not money. The problem is themselves. Who are they really? That's the problem. That's the problem I see when they have conversations around money. People don't want to do what it takes, Mike. They're not keen to put it all in. They're not keen to go big. They're not keen to do more than they're willing to do to get paid the same money. I know what I just said, right?
Well, I want to interrupt you briefly, and
go for it.
I keep on going back to this concept of scarcity versus abundance. We've been sold, in my opinion, at least my generation, my parents' generation, were sold this idea that you had to do the 9 to 5. So when you're saying people aren't willing, it's that they're fearful because they've been sold a lie, at least in the States, that if you work 9 to 5, 25 years, whatever, you get the golden watch, everything's good. Well, those days are long gone, in my opinion. And I don't remember who brought it up but we are heading sooner than later into what I'm calling a gig economy. So all of us at some point are going to have to be solo or entrepreneurs, in my opinion, because in the States, in tech, and this is happening all over, 2023, it's probably started in 22, thousands and thousands of people are being laid off, and most likely not to return. And if they do return, if they take those jobs back up, it's typically people that just started and are making a lot less money. So, so there's a bigger and bigger percentage of the population that is either underemployed or unemployed. That is going to have to change. People are going to have to adjust. And I have to agree with Cyrus and the whole digital thing too, but the world's changing. How, and that varies by country, obviously. If you're closer to the ground and you can till the soil, you till the soil. And, a lot of it also is generational. So if we haven't taught the next generation that they're going to have to produce something somehow in order to have a living, and we're not going to have UBI or, you're not going to sit in a welfare state for the rest of your life. Then we haven't done our jobs in preparing them. But I believe, at least in the States, that we've been sold a lie that we have to do the 9 to 5, whether it's at a factory or in an office building or in a grocery store or whatever. We've been sold that lie. And I think that lie is not immediately and not in all verticals, but I think that lie is becoming evident to more and more people because they are jobless. Thank you.
I could agree with you entirely. Those people are us, sadly. Those people are the 88% of the population, Mike, who believe in a 9 to 5, doing a minimum, as Cyrus called it earlier, and then wondering, what's went wrong? Why am I stuck? Why do I have no money?
I actually think the younger generation, and in all fairness, they looked at the boomer generation and said they got lied to. They see mom and dad or whatever either unemployed or underemployed or retired, and so that story, that fiction is pretty well recognized. Like I said, at least in the States, in the younger generation. I think some of us in the boomer generation are probably still holding on to that, but it's It hasn't been true, at least in my lifetime, since probably the 90s, that there was any job security. I was working with AT&T. I don't know if you guys, it's like BT in the UK, and they riffed 24,000 people one year. 24,000. I don't know how many thousands of employees they had, but that's a huge chunk of people.
They got half a million employees, so 250,000 at least.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I mean, 24,000. I mean, may not mean much to the company, but it meant something to the 24,000 people. And I think that's when IBM did the same thing, and all these big kind of blue chip companies that people thought they had a job for life, and that's just not true. It hasn't been true for a number of years.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie. Alas, I think it's a circular argument we're having to a degree. In that, I think the people that it's not that's not fair. Many people don't bring much to the employment situation, to the workplace, to the business. Businesses have to be harsh. We're those businesses. We're those employees. I say we, us on stage, us on the audience. Now, Kenny's done well. Kenny's been the same job for the last 50 years. And he's quite happy. He gets paid well. He has freedom. He has all these things that we want, right? So he might say, "Oh, well, Mike, I'm quite happy, to be an employee." I don't know. But anyway, Kenny does, beg you, Mike, to let go of us and talk about everything above ankle. I can understand. I can understand.
There's also an additional aspect to this, and that is, for those who are employed, the cost of living has gone up, and that means you're paying more for everything that used to cost less before. The value of your money it's gone down. So now you have to start thinking about, okay, where do I start making savings? I'm actually contemplating, I told you I'm thinking about this thing about, what would money do for me? And I bought into this deal where, you check in, you do your healthcare, and you get your healthcare through your company, and you pay a certain amount of money. And I'm watching the amount of money that's going into the healthcare. And I haven't had a healthcare I have had health scares, but the way I dealt with it was I personally dealt with it using my own resources, going on the internet, finding out what I needed to do, talking to specialists, etc., etc. If I had to fork out some money, I'd go and fork out some money. But I never used my card. I have a health card where I can go to the hospital and get checked out, or I can go to the clinic, get checked out. I can go to a physician, pay them. They'll tell me what they think, and then they'll give me a bunch of pills and to make me go away for after about a half an hour worth of business. If not half an hour, then 15 minutes. Well, I believe that's right now. I believe that's a piece of junk. And I'm going to stop paying for my health care come the end of the year, or the turn of the year when that renewal comes. I'm not going to renew it. I want to save whatever I'm paying for, which is about in a month. I pay something like $800-900 for healthcare. For that, just to be able to walk through the door, to have the dentist appointments and all that stuff, just for that through my company. I'd rather save that money and put it in my pocket. I could be saving a whole bunch of, there are alternative ways to actually take care of my health. Those are things that we also have to be thinking about. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are actually contemplating, and those without jobs currently, they have to contemplate that too. What are they going to do for that? Because right now, if you don't have healthcare, good God, the amount of money you have to pay for health, wow.
It's more than $800 a month.
No, yeah, it's a heck of a lot more than that. I think it's double, maybe even triple.
So I'll tell you the story of my friend Rick. Something similar along those lines, Mr. Carl. Coach David, are you there? So, and I want to come to you next to hear your thoughts on what you're willing to do for money. Anyway, so my friend Rick, like the rest of us, he's got car insurance. He had one of those, it's Scirocco, and you know what that is, VW, Sarah's, right? It's a sporty car. So one day, Rick decided, you know what? My insurance just ran out. I shan't buy insurance. I've never claimed. What the hell? I'd rather keep my money. 2 days later, he's driving down the road. A deer jumps out in front of his little car. I said little car, it's a car, but it's very low to the ground. It's a sports car, right? And the deer essentially went through the windscreen, mashed up the car completely. He's lucky to have walked away. I'm saying, be very careful when you think you're saving money on what doesn't seem to be giving you money back. You never know when you're going to come unstuck, Michael. But it's your choice, right?
Yeah,
it's your choice.
Life and death. You can imagine.
Yeah, well, life and real poverty is what I call it. There's them the two extremes, really, right? But choose wisely. Choose wisely. Coach David, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here live.
So please do talk to us.
I'm listening. And I'm listening. I'm trying not, because it's a topic I'm excited about. I'm trying not to talk too much because there's a lot to say. And I must say, everyone, we're really hitting the point. But I'd just like to make one point clear. A lot of people aren't aware about their personal money programs. Now we're going into the digital realm of money. The confusion just gets layered up. What's your personal money program? How do you interact with money? Are you, first of all, a spender? Are you a saver? Are you a hoarder? There are about 4 different types of classes in one classification type. One psychometric test around money says there are 6 categories. What is the money culture of the person who raised you? And number 2, how do you see money as a program on the inside? How do you see the concept of your account? Is it half empty? Or some people, when they hit half empty full account, that's let me throw that pull out, they will just stop spending because they're now going to saving mode. Some people, until they hit 0. Some people have money for the next 3 years, 4 years in their account, and they won't flinch. The lifestyle doesn't change. I have a young man who always consumes only 5% of what he earns. He's so impoverished. He walks in between bus stops. He's so stingy to himself. But there's a money program running. What is the money program you're running? Before we now go to digital money and all the artifacts you need to build, the other thing is that we must all find the means of owning platforms, owning communities, or people that can buy your service online if the physical naira note or dollar note or whatever fails. My third major shot, and I hear what everyone has said, except that money is not that easy in terms of the spirit of it. Everybody must go into their economy to learn what is being said, to learn the rules, the hidden rules, because money is changing. Individuals are getting far more stronger. Where would you be? How would you play your own game? Mike was talking about how private, I forgot how he put it, private music, private music reels or music. There's something he mentioned about how a unique niche in the music industry. Everybody needs that niche. You need something that is signature moment for you to make money by in the coming future. And you need to understand the unique money environment in which you operate and the economy you operate. Those are my big words. And like I said, please, unashamedly, go take FinTech Black Box, the secrets that will control global money. And now individuals are becoming richer, which is the bigger thing in what Cyprus and Mike was saying earlier. The truth is that you can become richer than government. For the first time, We are having new banks. We are having different individuals pulling money together. You and 6 of your friends could become richer than a whole county. There are now systems in place. Will you be looking or will you take advantage? That's almost my last shot. Everyone has said, I've enjoyed the conversation and I take all the point in and I'm excited. You guys are superheroes. Thanks for sharing this.
Thank you so much, my friend. Look, there's a law of money. Was it a law? It was a principle, the rule of how money works, right? The more money you have, the more money you make, the more money you get. Think of that for a second. The more you have, the more comes to you. Now, some people put that down to the rich F up the market to screw others. It's not. It's once money starts flowing to you, it carries on flowing. That's more like it. It's not, it's not a hidden secret. It's not a crime. This is why I'm so keen that I will develop a money mindset that serves us. That builds on what everyone said so far. That's because everybody's just saying, you have to create something, right? Like if you create nothing, look around you, my friend. How many people do you know, apart from everyone, really, who they're like, I don't know what happened. I've tried so hard. Here I am, and I'm still poor.
You know what I need? One of my cousins called me from Iran the day before yesterday, and she had a really heartbreaking conversation with me. And she said to me, "Ever since my divorce, I'm struggling." And I talked to my mum, and because my mum's into real estate, buys and sells and rents out large properties, not just like normal ones, like properties with gardens and whatever, and jacuzzi and swimming pool, and like really large ones. And she said to her, if you have experience in that area, which she did, by the way, come and work with us. So her immediate problem was resolved. But the main thing that I talked to her about and kind of convinced her to understand is you can't moan about the current state of affairs and also at the same time do nothing about it. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't, right?
It's a delusion. It's lying to yourself.
Yes, it's a delusion. What you need is a solution, not a delusion, right? So if you're telling me, financially speaking, you are kind of under lots of pressure, yeah, I understand and I respect that. But if you tell me, I don't have a laptop, I can find you a laptop. If you tell me I don't have the sources, I'll send you a couple of links. I'll ask you to go to such and such live event and learn from them. I'll book you in with myself and I'll teach you stuff. But if the willingness to learn is not there, you're wasting your time, you're wasting my time, and you're wasting your 15-year-old son's time, right? So now to answer a question about what is it that you're willing to do. So let me show you something. You always say this about me, and I always try to prove you right, Annie. You always say I'm a doer, okay? And that proves another point. When you surround yourself with positive-minded people, you always try to maintain that image, right? That's another good thing about being in the live events with you, David, Calm, Mike, and the rest of our group. So I'm going to share my screen with you if it's all right to dedicate 2 minutes to this. Is that all right?
Go for it.
Thank you. So I was going to say, if you feel you are at the end of your tether, right, and you feel like all roads are dead end. You have tried everything and it's not working. Just all you need to do is just write a book. Simple as that, right? Explain your experiences and talk to someone like Enyo Song and tell him, here's the money, here's my idea, print it for me. Or, here's the idea, I can't afford it now, can you set up a payment plan for me? Or I will save up on such and such date, and next year, I will pay for it. But if the money, this is my experience, right? If the money is the problem, it's solvable. It's a problem that can be solved, okay? If the willingness is not there, that problem never gets solved, right? So you ask me, what is it that you're willing to do? So what I do is I publicize my friends. That's what I'm willing to do. So we have created this website called There Is a Book in You. Me and Annie talked about it the day before yesterday, I think, wasn't it? And we already created the website. Was it? Sorry?
So we did.
Yeah, we did, yeah. So we're going to redirect that to your website, Annie. And whoever goes to the website goes to your call booking system, or coffee chat booking system, and they can have a conversation with you. That conversation is free of charge, guys, by the way. You can have 15 minutes of our time, Annie's time, my time, and we will help you with telling you a yes or no, if we can help you or not. So I've explained in the chat that we are already live on Readers TV, by the way, right? So Readers TV is a website that connects coaches, authors, and thought leaders, like people available on this live event. It connects them to readers. What do readers want? They want books, and it's us connecting you to Global.Media, right? So I'm gonna play a really short song for you guys, and you get the gist of what I mean.
Why wait for someday? 'Cause nobody will call. The words inside you could change it all. Sit down and write it. Don't try to fight it. Your truth is a spark. Go on, ignite it. Order your thoughts. Make chaos sing. Turn your pain into something that'll bring hope to many, light to a few. 'Cause there's a book in you.
And always remember, guys, there's always, the least you can do is write your book. There's a book in every person's heart, and just get that book out, and let the world read it and decide. Sometimes when I talk to people and say, why is it you haven't written your book yet? They're like, what if nobody buys it? Well, as Annie says, what if you succeed? What if it gives you that international position, which is called Amazon bestseller. What if it happens? Think positive.
Look, I will say this about doing your book. Again, this is part of my new conversations. I'll come to you next, Mike. I can see your mic is unmuted, right? You know what, Cyrus? See, many people write books, right? I don't publish them, most of them, so then I should. If I did, I would tell them the truth as well, right? I think you have to be, we used the word earlier, willing. What are you willing to do? I think a lot of people, they take what you say quite literally. Like, I give the book to any publisher, say, go buy my book. But as Coach Davis has explained so beautifully, you have to create a platform for you and your book. Now, my author friends who create that platform, the platform's not hard to create. It's realizing you have a thing in your hand, right? Your book business, call it that, right? And then you're willing to do so you're willing to get it out there to more people, day by day, right? And I'll say this, I say Paulette is my most successful author.
She's a very good example.
She really is, that's why I mentioned her, right? She is the one, she writes the newspapers every day, so we know Paulette's been off ill for a while, right? Well, of course she's back now, thank goodness. But in those days, Sarah, she's still building relationships, as Mike is talking about. As Mike has talked about all the way through our show today. She's making friends who get her books in libraries, friends like Michael, Mr. Calm here, who get her books to Uganda. There's many more people. I'm saying, but my authors need to learn to just keep doing and keep doing. Don't just sit there on your book. If you sit there on your book, you end up being the person who makes the cardiness sin and says, "Oh, but no one bought my book. I sold 5 copies to my family. And that's it." I can't help you if you're not willing to do the work. The same as making money. The one thing I'll say, Sarah, is about making money. Thankfully, I learned the lesson a long time ago, which is that you have to start early. My friend Cassandra, my friend Leah, Queen Leah, as I call her, right? She talks about compound interest. If you save a penny a day, believe you me, not too long, you actually become a millionaire. It sounds silly, but it's true. If you start investing your money from early, what does that really mean? What's our go to our conversation today? You need to make enough money to put money to work for you. That's a fact. Not many people understand that. I wish they would. Mike, let me come to you, my friend. Of course, I know your son is there as well. So
yeah, I was contemplating what I think holds most people back, and I'm going to keep on coming back to this idea.
Please share. Yeah, even if you're wrong, share with us, and then refine the idea in time, right?
Well, I think it is this idea that I don't want to say they're not passionate, but they've bought into the lie of scarcity again, meaning that they're not good enough, or their story doesn't need to get out. So you have to be passionate, and sometimes it's timing too. So I found that I stepped out of my comfort zone and started publishing first my poems. I did some of them on here, if you remember, and I was because I had a situation a while back that didn't go well. And so, but I'm passionate about the message in the poem, and I'm passionate about the songs. And I think there has to be, to achieve certainly long-term success. And if you're talking about a book, you have to, it has to be within you that you have to get it out. If you're just doing this, I don't know, for family or something, I'm not saying you can't do a book for family, but that's totally different. And so if you're hoping to make any change or any real money, you have to have a passion and be willing, in essence, to do what it takes to get it out. And God forbid that I ever actually want to do a book, because I am already thinking how painful the process is, because for me, my poetry or my songs are like my babies. And I know once I hand it over to Annie and the editors, it's going to be a painful process, because they're going to have to go through, to your point, is there anything there to begin with? And then I'm imagining either I'll be doing the rewrites or whoever will be doing the rewrites to get it to where it's sellable. And I think as an artist, now I'm not, and I've written a lot of words, but I think again there it's like, well, what's more important? Is it getting the exact words out that I put in, which maybe didn't really work in the first place, or kind of really tell a comprehensive story in a way that people can understand it? And I always say, by the way, if you want to teach, and to me, if you want to be an author, you have to know your subject kind of inside and out in a way so that you can get it out that people understand. Now, you can get help from Annie and the editors, but again, it's going to be, to me anyway, it's going to be a painful process, because you're going to have to go through multiple iterations, multiple rewrites. And so what you kind of envision going in probably is not what the book ends up being. And, to be successful. And when you are successful, even if it's, I don't know, 1,000 books, personally, I just like, well, that's the next step to your next book. But I think people I think people buy into this, either I'm not good enough or I can't do this or whatever. They don't have enough passion to overcome getting out of their comfort zone, reaching out to people. It's the other thing. I think there's a lot of people willing to help you. I certainly haven't reached out enough in my life for help. And I think you'll find there's a lot more people than you think willing to help you. But I think you have to have the passion.
That I agree with. So, you said the passion often comes with not having the money, because you haven't got the passion for what you do, who you be.
Well, that goes back to what we started with. It's like, know yourself. I mean, if you don't really understand yourself, then I don't know how you can kind of move forward, because I agree with Coach David in that you have to understand how you operate with money, what your relationship with money is. And it's not just money, it's everything that we talked about. And to your point, the compound interest is huge. So, one of the reasons that rich people make money is that they understand compounding and that they've used it, and then can make it, the more money you have, the more ability you have to, do like what Cyrus was talking about, and invest in large real estate holdings and so on. So,
Mike,
yep.
Can I please say, when you think about the process of, I know sometimes it can be a lengthy process, but when you think about the process of printing a book, writing a book, right? What is natural, and what you're feeling is natural, by the way. What is natural is to focus on the pain, because you compare the pain to the dividend that the book is going to pay you, right? So you think, you said 1,000. I know people who told me, all of that pain for 300 copies of the book. I asked the guy who told me that. I said, how did you come up with that figure of 300? And he said, well, I know someone who went to any Old Songs event and sold 300 copies. I was like, who is it? And he wouldn't tell me. I said, so tell me, why is it that event stuck to your head? And he said to me, going through all of that for 300 copies. I said, well, you haven't written your book yet. That's number one. Number two, how do you feel that person may have operated if they are just waiting for people to come and buy it? I think 300 books is twice as many as they deserve to sell, because
I agree.
Honestly, because you don't deserve to sell books if you're not proactive, if you're not approaching your market, and if you're not DMing people. How do you expect people to so do you really expect people to put down more important books and come and buy yours? So you have to tell them a story. You have to tell them your story. Your story sells the book. The book is only the hook, right? So that's how it works. And by the way, if we are writing the book to get rich, we are deluded.
Yeah, that's fair.
We certainly not, but that's a big F. That's a big F, by the way, right? So
yeah.
what I'm trying to say is, if the intention of writing the book is to opening more doors, right? That is the right intention, because people will approach you. They will hire you for the project. Short term, long term, doesn't really matter, right? They get to know you. And that is such a privilege and a prestige, high prestige, to tell them, I am an author. And you become an author after printing the first one. Please go ahead. And I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, I mean, you're kind of reiterating, to me anyway, that if you're doing it to make money, I think that's just the wrong, that gets back to the passion. But I also feel like when you were talking about that guy, I'm like, that's still a scarcity mindset. Only 300. Like, what? Only 300. You wrote a book. You had it published.
No, he heard on the live event that or I don't know how he heard. He heard that person, who was a lady, sold only 300 copies, and that scared him.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's a scarcity mindset. Who cares? First of all, your book is not her book. And again, to me, it's where's your passion? I'm sorry, but I don't care to some degree. Yes, of course I want to make money and I want to do very well. But I don't necessarily care. First of all, I don't compare. I think compare is the friggin' it's a disaster, because
well, Mike, nobody will tell you, I'm sorry, I'm not passionate. They will turn around and give you another excuse. Nobody will turn around and say, we
see it every day, Sarah. We see it every day. This is, you know, there's something called the LinkedIn effect, right? The LinkedIn effect, in case you don't know, is people come to LinkedIn and they suddenly morph into a genius, a leader, a legend. So someone comes on LinkedIn as a janitor, a cleaner, and suddenly, as they go on LinkedIn, because they have to work on their profile, I don't know whether it's a profile people who make them do so, they suddenly become the chief, facilities manager or director in a company. So the other way it can work is people come to LinkedIn, they look around and they're like, they're so much better than me. I'm going to shrink.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a victim of my own life. That's the way forward. I hear what you're saying.
That's
Mike.
so painful. That is painful.
Cyrus, look around you, my friend. This happens every day.
But Annie, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about shrinking too, because again, I keep on referring to it because shrinking to me is going to lead to a scarcity mindset. If you have if you have an abundant mindset, you won't shrink. Now, again, you may have setbacks, and this is what I keep on saying. You have to have the passion, but you also have to be open to going outside the box and outside your comfort zone, more importantly. I mean, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't have come on your show, Annie. You know that I didn't want to appear on camera. I still don't like appearing on camera, but I'll do it. And so I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I did it. Now I'm on all sorts of different shows. So it is, but it has to be a passion. And one of my passions is helping other people. It's one of the reasons I come on. And yes, one of my other passions is various artistic endeavors, including poetry and songwriting, which before I just want to close my portion of the program out with this song. So let me play Mr. Shawn Michaels' birthday song.
While you do that, let me welcome Mel the genius, Mel that connects us together. I'm sure Mike, Mel. I'll come back to that.
Happy birthday, Shawn.
Sean, you're shining bright. You made the climb. You said you're successful, but something still feels off. It's time for a new rhyme. You've built the career, the rep, the style, but now let's celebrate and dance for a while. There's a little whisper softly calling you. Shift your identity, make your dreams come true. No quick fixes, just a soulful ride. Today's your birthday, let your spirit glide. Shift your laugh up loud, let the good vibes flow. Blow out those candles, watch your bright star glow. You lead with truth, now it's time to play. Happy birthday, Sean, on your day. Reframe the story, trade doubt for cheer. Embark on strength, your purpose clear. Leverage the love, let power grow. On this special day, let your true self show. Shift your laugh up loud, let the good vibes flow. Blow out those candles, watch your bright star glow. You're the guide for hearts that seek to know. Happy birthday, Sean. Let your spirit glow. So here's to you, Sean. The day is done. Celebrate the journey. This year's just begun. With love and laughter, light in your way. Happy birthday, friend. Shine every day.
And just for clarity, that was Sean's message sung back to him. His message is about shifting your identity. He uses something called the Real Mastery Method. And reach out to Sean for help in shifting your identity. Thank you.
No, awesome. Happy birthday, Sean. Hopefully we've done you, we're giving you enough joy, albeit in hindsight, right? The new year has started, Sean. What will you create this year? We can't wait. Beautiful song, Mike. Really beautiful song. Tracy, thank you for your kind words. So I was talking about Mel Richards before the music went on, right? So this is a true legend. So this is someone who is a legend already, but having realized how great she is, she's going even bigger, even harder, even more willing to do what it takes, right? Those who know Mel know what I'm saying, and you know that she will be, she's global already, but she's going to be even more global. That's what I love. That's how you make a business that serves. But look, I'm talking to the choir, so to speak. You will know this. You're all amazing people doing amazing things to serve people. Coach David doesn't write his books for himself. Calm doesn't share because he's bored. Maybe he does. But deep down, we're
I'm
here
asleep
to
right now, so stop disturbing me.
That's I have to go and cook my dinner and do many more things before my night's out. I'll send number 300 DMs So if you haven't registered for Be Unstoppable 2025, so I'm sure I've sent you the link. I've sent all my friends a link, right? Do register. If you can't join, it's 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So that if you can't join, if you register, at least then you get access to the replay. Yeah. Well, no. Kenny, I agree with you. Tracy's still here. Tracy, you're a trooper. You're amazing, truly. So do share the link. I've booked for your next event, Tracy. It's on Monday, it's on Tuesday, I think. Yeah. So let's support each other. I'm sure we're going to bring this conversation about money back again in different guises over time. I don't know where I'm going to be for the next couple of weeks. So until I know where I'm going to be, I can't really do much more. I don't want to be booking things and then not have an internet where I am, for example. So I need to see where I am. I'll know by next Monday where I'm going to be. Then I will let you know. Then I can start booking my diaries for events again. But my friends, this money conversation is I think it's one that we need to get our heads around. So please begin to do some of the work that my friends have mentioned. It's work on ourselves, work on our intentions, our desire, our willingness, our sense, our willingness to be of service to others. That's where money really comes from. But that's my final say today. If anyone else wants to give us their final say, or maybe even how my friends contact you, how's that? I don't know, Mr. Khan, Mr. Cyrus, I don't know, it doesn't matter who went first. Who wants to start talking?
Cyrus, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. It's a little bit concerning. He speaks in his sleep, and it's coherent as well. So,
Mr. Phenomenal, stop being phenomenal for a second.
Oh, you are amazing, Shikam. You are amazing. So, a quick word with my friends who are watching this live or who are watching this later, watching the recording later. Guys, the changes are coming, right? The changes are coming. Maybe more accurately, the changes have come. AI has come. The changes are happening. The change has already started. If you feel you have a business and needs improvement, be kind to your business. Be kind to yourself, and change the way you're doing business, because with these changes that are being applied, the old way of doing business is a thing of yesteryear, or should I say thing of yesterday. So if you're doing a business, start writing your book, start creating a podcast for your business. Search engines love podcasts, and that's one of the ways in which people find you, and you always want to be talked about and recommended, and a podcast is the best way of achieving that goal. And it's not really complicated to create a podcast. Just record 1 minute, 2 minutes, and just put it online. And imagine 1 minute for 1 year. That's 365 minutes of people getting to know you, right? And at this moment in time, your business potentially is not where it's supposed to be. In terms of sales, nobody's ever happy with the amount of sales they are having, right? If you're happy with it, there's something wrong there. Trust me. You're never supposed to be happy with the amount of sales that you have. You can always be better, because you can always improve and you can always expand. So my message to you guys is the changes are coming. Be ready, because soon the way the world is doing business is going to change, and I hope you're going to be one of the businesses and one of the individuals who's going to enjoy that ride. they're not going to be dragging from the back of that horse on the floor and on the ground, and you want to be on the horse, riding the horse. Okay, so I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for watching us on readerstv.com, and thank you so much for watching us on YouTube and on LinkedIn. It's a pleasure.
So where do we find you?
You can always find me on LinkedIn. You can always find me on at info@whisperboy.com, and so there are two main ways to find us, and you can always come and say hello and share your podcast ideas with us, and then we will point you in the right direction. If you need improvement, we will help you with that. But please always remember, your business deserves the best. Be the best help you expect for your business. Be that help.
Actually, I love that. Be the best. I talk about mastery all the time. Be good at what you do. Be very good. If you can't do big things, then do the small things in a great way. Yeah. Guaranteed to make you money, I promise you. Now, Kenny, so Mel says, keep reflecting your brilliant light, Kenny, into our fragile world. Kenny does that all the time. As Kenny says, in response to you, Mel, thank you so much for sharing your beautifully well-articulated, eloquently stated, heartfelt thoughts with me. He's greatly appreciated. That's quite good for Kenny, right?
Hello.
That's not bad at all. So Tracy said, Kenny, I came back to check on you guys. We're going soon, Tracy. We're going soon, I promise you. Otherwise, we're going to get kicked out anyway by StreamYard.
Yeah.
So, go on.
I just want to add some very sobering things to what Cyrus has said. It's not a matter of maybe or if, it's a matter of when. I want to amplify on the thought, Cyrus, that the way of doing business has changed. Watch this. The biggest transportation company in the world has no transportation vessel, yet is the biggest in the world. Uber, the biggest hospitality business in the world, has no hotel chain. Airbnb, the two biggest media giants in the world, ahead of CNN now and the big networks, is Facebook and YouTube. They don't have any physical station. The biggest retail group in the world, two of them, Alibaba and Amazon, no retail stores. In real estate is Booking.com and Expedia. In finance, guys like PayPal, Revolut, and Monzo in the UK are becoming the largest guys. I can go on and on. In education, Coursera and Udemy are becoming far more profitable than guys like Harvard, the traditional big networks. In recruitment is LinkedIn. In communication, you got WhatsApp taking over telephone channels, no telecom infrastructure. And it's the biggest global communication platform today, ahead of any local public switch telephone network. I can go on and on and on. Where is your own real estate artifact? Every book is a different baby. Some books require 13 children for you to break even. And think about it, you don't need more than, if you make £5 per book and 1,000 people buy it, how much is that? £5 per book and 1,000, that's 5,000. If what you make is just £3 and 20,000 people buy it, some people set goals that are very, very inappropriate. 200,000, 1 million copies sold. Before then, will you please sell 100? And please talk to Cyrus, talk to Annie, talk to Mike. These are people that say, look at the music, beautiful music that I know Mike can create. And look at the way Cyrus brought that out. That was genius. You're closer to your million than you ever imagined. Each book has the things you need to do. Some you have to come to seminars, some you have to meet a friend, and at a networking event, between the person that presents a card and the person that presents a product, who is much more memorable? who would the opportunity for the next sales pitch go to? Someone that's written more in that area. What's my bigger point? You can't afford not to make money from you and for you anymore. Your financial future and your money syntax will change. The money right now, the money that people are expecting to collect at retirement is already dwindling. Countries are blowing retirement money and retirement funds anyhow. There's a retirement crisis coming up. Whether you'll be able to afford all the good deeds you want in retirement or not, a function of what you're creating today. You work 9 to 5, drop the idea with any. Any has a system in place, you can write it. You've been working now for 30 years, 15 years, 10 years, and there's no single book. Your Odyssey alone is enough. What am I saying? We're in the age and time. Look at what Cyrus said. We may not be a good fit for you, but we can point you in the right direction. What exactly do you need? You need this seminar. There's just one, you need just one driver, one man of insight, one director, one person to give you go here, go here. You're just one person away from your breakthrough. You can't afford to keep saying, I don't know people, I don't have no one. It's not possible. There's just one person. Only one person you need. And then your success is loud. Don't forget, business has changed. Shalom. I yield the mic.
Said, my friend, well said. I'm sure I missed some people on LinkedIn in the comments. Do forgive me if I have done. So they will show up again on StreamYard to make my life a bit easier, right? The world has changed, Coach David. The question you asked, what are we creating? That's a big question. That's what we must answer. But let's come to you, Mr. Khan.
Yes, salam alaikum, Coach David. Thank you for the shalom.
God understands all languages.
You're a person, I'm interested in all languages because they're the doors to all hearts.
Yeah.
So long as you understand the language of a person or you have an interest, you can always gain their interest and therefore an opportunity.
Calm. 30 seconds. You just touched on something very deep. There is communication beyond language. For example, you can use music to sell your book and all tongues hear you, so you can sell all over the world. That's heavy. There's a language of the soul that transcends the language of your tribe. You got to look for the solutions that speak to the soul and the moment in the life of the soul of every human being that are universal. Music, for example, is a big one. So if you give your idea to Mike or your book to Mike, it's going to craft a music that will sell that thing. And doesn't matter the language of the person, the lyric will sell the book. Thanks. I just want to add that to the thought you're pushing there. That's heavy.
Thank you very much for that. That is
and I just need to key up on that before I forget. Those that know Felipe, he wrote, I wrote a song for his book launch, and now he created an animated, using illustrations from the book, he created an animated video that is playing that track, and he is putting in his next release of his book a QR code to play that track. So we really need to think outside the box when it comes to how we get this message out. And I'm right with Coach David in that music is a very powerful way to do storytelling and to bridge language gaps.
Yeah.
You see, Annie, all these people are talking about music. I listen to music all the time, almost 24/7. I'm on the music box, Hey.
Calm.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Calm. Just imagine if every book, every chapter of your book, let's say you have 12 chapters and there are 12 tracks, and every chapter has a poem, and then every chapter of your book has a music, something that speaks to the soul and bypasses all limitations. Those are deep things. And from there you go to movie scripting. This is where Mike and Cyrus come in. I mean, the things you can do once you have a product moving but write the book first. Start
Yes.
just agreeing that you're talking and I'm getting excited. You can also create games.
Mm.
You can create games. The touch points you can create are huge. What you can become is huge. Your introduction to greatness is better through books. I mean, let me leave the. I'm getting more excited, Mike and Carl. Thank you.
Mike, you got to write them. Mike, you got your poems written already, man. Come on, get someone to publish them. I would like to publish. Of course, I would. Alas, I don't really care who does it. I'm more interested in the fact that your insights, as Coach David just said, your knowledge, your experiences, your genius can't, literally be left unheard by anyone.
A year ago, I would have told you to get tossed any. Because just let me explain. Because I was so into this concept of scarcity, but more about scarcity about my self-doubt. So I think I'm going to keep on banging this drum. I think we really have to look inward and say, all of us have something. We have a story to tell. And poetry and music touch others very deeply. Now, if people, you've heard some of my songs. If and I'm very attached to some of them. And as Cyrus saw and pointed out, I've done two videos now, which are very labor intensive, by the way, for two of those tracks. But and that's just yet again another way to get that message across. But I just encourage everybody. We all want to be seen, heard, and valued, particularly valued. We have value to bring. So when we talk about monetization, yes, of course I want to monetize. But more importantly, I want to reach people. I've written books about division. Songs about division, which I haven't published, by the way. I've written songs about love. I've written songs about overcoming. I have a song called Victor, Not Victim, which I'm a big believer in. We have to get out of the victim mindset. Even if we've had, gone through the ringer, we have to overcome. And so that's my message. And that would be a message for a book if I choose to write it.
Excellent.
But Annie, it didn't. I'm only saying, if you had come to me like a year ago, I wasn't wallowing, but I wasn't where I am today. And I also think we have to. Well, I went through this little thing called a Cabbage X4, otherwise known as a quadruple bypass. And that will change your mind about what you need to do and when you have the time. So.
I get that. Again, so I would refer to my friend Kelly's amazing quote. We have two lives. We want to start living our best life when we realize we've only got one life left. Yay. And the time is now, right? For all of us. The time is now for all of us. Look, I will thank you all for being here. I'll thank you all for spending time with us, all for commenting, and just for being. I'm grateful to all of you.
Hold on. The interruptions just kept on coming in. I felt like Penny there.
If you're sharing gems, what do you expect? Anyway, you got. So I'll give you 2 minutes more.
2 minutes more. Okay, let me make this quick. Like Cyrus alluded to, I share the best from the best by the best. I wholeheartedly believe in that. And this group of persons that you have here with you, I share them with you because they're the best and they produce the best and they are by the best. Thank you very much. Certainly appreciate you guys. Later.
Thank you. You enjoy your night, my friend. So I'm sure Calm, Mike, and Coach, we're all on LinkedIn, right? So if you want to share your profile in the comments, then please do. I'm happy to connect with anyone, and I'd love to know what you do. I mean that sincerely. It's two-way streets, though. You know. Festus, I see your comments. Festus says, what money means to us is truly a very key question that we must look at. Thank you, Coach David. That's what this conversation is about, really, right? You know.
Oh yeah. And if you haven't gotten Coach David's book, FinTech Black Box, I just got it. It's like $9 on Amazon. So go get it.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure it will change your world.
Michael's going to be reading tonight.
Doozy. And then you can get the prescription. Then you can get the prescription from Coach.
Well, I think insights about what's coming. I said the change that's happened already. Just understanding it what matters, right?
Yep, that is true. And it's also nice to have a guide, which is also a good thing. So, someone who's been thinking about it for quite a while. I like my friends because I trust their opinions. I go with it. It's like that's my gut. My gut level is telling me that. So these are my friends here on board, and I'm going with them.
There is a lesson. There's a lesson in all of this, Mr. Khan, which is that if no one knows how you help, no one knows your book is out there. No one's going to buy your book. Coach David talked about his book today, and Khan's bought a copy. You might think that's just one copy. Believe you me, one copy a day. That's how many have you sold? A good few hundreds, right? You know, it's not about how many you sell in that sense. It's about how many people get to read your book. That's the real game. The more, well, let's run 500 books. Where's that going to lead? Who knows, right? How many more kids are going to see that over time, even long after we're gone? That's the real game, right? Look, do connect with Mike. So that's Mike's LinkedIn profile. That's in the comments. So mine's there too. Cyrus, Coach David, Mr. Khan. Put your profiles in the comments, please. It's one of my new habits that I want to do more of. Make sure people know how to contact my friends, as Michael says. My friends, look, do enjoy your night. I'm going to go and cook my dinner now and do some exercise and send 300 DMs all by the morning. What joy.
It has been an honor and a pleasure, all of you. Thank you.
It's a privilege from my side to have all of you give me your time to share your genius with us as well. But I'm sure we're going to do this again.
It was a privilege and an honor. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.